You're really quiet, Dan, as per usual.
I know. Is it better?
You gotta sound.
I know she's a different microphone, but
Oh yeah,
No, I'm not. It's the same one.
I can just
have
see it more. I
mounted
guess.
it's like magic. It's floating around. I thought you were using the AT897 or what the fuck it is. Nope.
No, apparently not.
Excuse me.
Can you hear me now? Hey, okay, check. Okay, I need to check the levels now because. Hey, there you go. Shit, I can't hear you guys. God damn it. Now I'm just talking to myself live. God damn it. Hold on. Sorry, people. I don't even know how. Well, hold on. My speakers have got to be going. Huh? What the hell is going on?
Bad vision. Let's see.
Check. Okay.
Here we hear you. Can you hear us?
There we go. Yeah, now we can
And
hear.
we hear us.
And how's the audio?
It's weird hearing the playback.
Look at Ben. I've got a circle light in both my
Who's
eyes.
that behind me? That
Yeah.
hot stud.
Who
Oh,
is
gosh.
that attractive man?
Hi, I'm Ben.
Oh, if I
The minute you got a
really-
vagina in your forehead.
I like that.
Yeah, right there.
Oh shoot! I think we need that meme where it's like Ben first class.
What does it think that is?
What?
Yeah.
You're like,
What is that?
you're like vagina face from Total Recall.
What is it finding? What's on your wall?
Yeah, what is it finding?
It's just a
Like that.
poster behind me.
Oh.
Oh.
It's just
Oh,
it's,
Oh, the jacket.
It's his
Yeah,
vagina
it's-
poster.
Mm.
Ah.
it's a poster.
I
of
don't
a
know
vagina.
what it could be. It's the vagina poster behind me.
Is this
Oh,
on the
that's fine.
keto? This is 95 calories.
Yeah, I could do that. I just have to be very sparing. You know what's really apparently like pretty keto approved is just like
Water.
like something like vodka or whiskey just on the rocks or whatever with a splash of lemon.
Yeah, that was. I remember I was in Orange County and I told the bartender that I had just been, like I'd been drinking too much and I wanted something like a healthier drink,
Mhm.
and she was like, "Oh yeah, vodka water."
Yeah, like a vodka soda would be keto or really or gin or whatever.
No, but vodka water, just like you know how some people enjoy their whiskey with a splash of water,
Mhm.
Yeah.
just that but with vodka, and like maybe a spritz of lemon. That was
Yeah,
that was
that'd be
like a
good.
thing. That was a fad amongst like I don't know exercising moms in Orange County.
Yeah, because there's not, it's like there's not a lot of calories in it. There's no
And
carbs.
everybody,
Probably
those girls
no
need to
calories
drink.
in it, yeah.
Yeah,
Exercise
and they
and
like their.
moms in Orange County
they-
really need to get fucked
That's
up.
right.
Exercising
And they
moms
like their
is a good name for
vodka.
a band.
Yeah.
There's exercising.
Exercising moms is pretty good.
They like their splashed vodka.
Splashed.
Splashed.
Also,
Gross.
you could do those damn seltzers. Those are keto friendly.
Seltzer.
Seltzer.
All the seltzers that are out now.
Oh,
Everyone makes
seltzer.
one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like White Claws.
Yeah, but White Claws, they're not that good.
Oh, are you?
They're
actually-
not
They
good.
are not
They're
that
not
good.
good.
I totally agree.
wow, I'm.
They're not even the best of the seltzers. You could do better. even
Truly-
as a seltzer.
truly
There
is
is
okay.
there is a better
Truly's
seltzer
better.
for sure. Truly is not better than White Claw. I'll fight you with Matt. But
What? They have better
uh,
flavors.
there
Like-
is a better seltzer. But I like White Claws, man. If I mean, ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
It's all
Like,
kind of the
I'll go
same.
same.
I think that White Claw is like I think Daryl, you said it once that it tastes like someone said it tastes like CO2.
Yeah,
Tastes
I
like
can taste.
CO2
I can
water.
taste the CO2 in it.
Tasted in it, yeah.
I'm sure plants would love it, right? Trees and stuff. Like,
Dude, there's no
It's got what plants
taste.
crave.
There's no
Big-
taste.
yeah.
There's no taste to any of this stuff. It's
Something
like when
about
they're
the Trulies-
flavoring it, you know, they're bottling it in the factory, and then they need the guy to come in and flavor it. He just walks in the room, goes, grapefruit, and then leaves. That's what it tastes like. There's no,
Really? When you yelled grapefruit.
there's no actual flavoring.
Well, have you ever had sparkling water? Sparkling water just tastes like CO2. I know
Yeah.
you've never had water in your life.
I
so,
mean, sparkling
that's right.
water tastes like it. Sparkling water tastes fine. It's so funny. I think you just don't like the just like sparkle, man. Like
well, I don't like the sparkle. I will agree with you there. But I mean, like soda's got CO2 in it, but you can't taste because of all the extra soda flavors in there and the chemicals and all
and
the
the sugar,
the
like,
death and
the
Mhm.
exactly
Yeah.
the cancer causing.
You know what else is
agents.
Diabetes.
surprisingly keto friendly? Well, I guess not super surprising, but you can have like diet sodas. It's got a
Oh.
bunch of other stuff that's apparently not good for you, but like Diet Coke. People
Yeah.
who are on keto love Diet Coke.
I mean, aspartame, baby. Like whatever.
Aspartame.
Yeah, just
But it's
fucking-
still
Yeah,
bad
baby.
for you.
Aspartame,
It's just-
baby.
There's a quote in the quote book where I was like, I think I told my buddy, like, Diet Coke, like aspartame gives you cancer, and he was like, I'd rather have cancer over diabetes any day. And just like fucking started tanking his his Diet Coke, and I was like, damn, that's a man who knows what he wants, you know.
Yeah, right.
I
Good
mean,
guy
Going down.
knows his limitations.
you do that like
You
you
know.
do that cost benefit analysis, right? It's like diabetes, you gotta deal with that like all the time. Like, what's your type
Mhm.
2, man? You get fucking
Yeah,
insulin
you-
and everything.
Cut your legs off and shit.
Yeah, fucking cancer. You just
Oh,
like
yeah.
you know, if
Mine-
it doesn't go
sure.
well, you know, it does that's it.
That's terrible. Okay, so we watched a movie.
We did.
I'd first like to welcome back.
Hold on,
Dad.
really quickly.
Okay.
Sorry, really
Yes.
quickly. I want to plug my brother's book.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got the
Check that
paperback.
out.
Yeah,
I was
bro,
gonna get
I'm
the
fooling
paperback.
around.
That's awesome.
So my brother wrote a book. It's called Crucible of Fear. Does it look backwards to you guys? 'Cause it looks backwards to me.
No,
It's fine.
It's just a thing.
good.
Okay.
Sit
Every
backwards.
time this screws me up like my art Lou. It's a thriller novel, and Dana, you would hate how it starts because he starts it and then goes back 2 weeks and tells you how to get. You would hate that part.
Ah.
But
I
it's
like
actually really
thriller.
good. It's actually really good. So you can get it on Amazon, gentlemen and
Mhm.
ladies. Crucible of Fear, D.W. Whitlock.
Yep.
Pick up a copy today. It's actually really good.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
$3 on Amazon.
Yeah,
for
I haven't
the
written.
EPUB.
I haven't written. I haven't read a book in years and years and years, but I'm actually reading this one, so I can give a real review of it. I just don't want
Yeah.
to say, read it with your eyes. It's great. None of that
Yeah.
bullshit.
It's got words. Loved it.
Yeah, cover to back, it had words. So, which is a good review, by the way.
Yeah, that's all I need in a book.
It's not a bad review.
I mean,
Not
yeah,
a bad
I would be
review.
pretty shocked if I read a review that was like there weren't even any words. in
Yeah,
there.
this book
Yeah.
had pages and words. Read it.
I mean, that's a
So-
lot like poetry books, where it's just like 3 lines on a page.
Whoa, are you talking
Poetry's
shit on
stupid.
poetry books?
A little bit.
Poetry's stupid.
Poetry's not stupid.
Poetry's not stupid, but poetry.
tell you what,
poetry
even
I
better-
have
books-
really changed my mind on poetry.
I'd say what's stupider is slam poetry. I hate that even more.
Oh gosh,
Slam
that's
po-
the worst.
Are you slamming slam poetry?
Slam poetry's great.
I'm gonna write a slam
That-
poet
that
about.
I'm gonna
scene
do one
in-
right now.
All right, do it.
Yeah, do
These,
it. Do it.
these strings of silver, these silver strings, in, out, up, down, strings of silver.
It's pretty good.
Oh, is that the slam at the end?
That's the slam part of the
it's not.
poetry.
So
You
I
can
think
up it
you-
on camera. That's
Daryl,
cool.
I suspect that you just dislike bad poetry.
I don't like good poetry.
Slam poetry, is it really that good?
I've
Can it
only
really
There
be
are
okay.
definitely good slam poems. I will
Dude,
fight you on this.
Edgar
gonna
Allan
find me
Poe.
out.
Okay, did you,
but-
that scene in 21 Jump Street, that defines slam poetry. That is so accurate. Do you know the scene I'm talking about in that movie?
I haven't
We're-
actually seen it in a while.
Okay,
Slam
so they're
poetry.
supposed to be they're supposed to be like college kids, right? They're in their 30s or whatever. So Jonah Hill and they're all like doing this beatnik slam poetry
Oh,
thing
yeah,
that's on
yeah.
the college campus. And Jonah Hill tries to fit in. He's trying to be cool. He goes up there. He just like bullshits something really bad, he's like, water, it's wet, and he's like saying it with different inflections, and he's just getting snaps left and right, and he ends up impressing the whole room. He's like, gets the best slam poetry thing of the night. That's how I feel about all the slam poetry.
No, I don't like slam poetry, but poetry.
I used to love spoken word.
I hate spoken word the most.
I used to love spoken word. I've kind of changed my mind on spoken word. I like it a lot less now. I don't think it's all bad, but man, I used to like it, and now I think it's kind of cringy.
I think it's
spoken
cringy.
word is poetry.
A lot of it.
How good it is dependent on how hot the chick is that's reading it.
I mean, my favorite slam poems aren't by beautiful women, and a lot of my favorite things are by beautiful women. But like slam poetry, like the thing is, that's the challenge with something like spoken word or slam poetry, is that you're like writing this line, this razor thin edge of like way too cringy and like try hard and pretentious,
right.
or like way too not attempted enough to like even like be worth speaking. And like when somebody, I don't know, for me, when somebody has something like really eloquent to say, is like, you know, nails the cadence and everything, and like puts on like a very entertaining performance where you're like, man, that was very like, that was actually thoughtful and entertaining to listen to, and like I appreciate, like, it's like, that's fucking, I appreciate how difficult it is to be good at
the hell are you eating,
slam
Danon?
poetry.
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sakes, there's
You know what I
go
think
right
killed
into the
it for me?
movie. There's a lot of, okay, go ahead. I was gonna tie this in.
Okay, all I was gonna say is I think what really killed spoken word for me was being a sound guy at a college campus.
And being exposed to a lot of
That'll
bad.
do it. Yeah.
You hear a lot of bad spoken word, a lot of bad Christianese spoken word.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
think
don't,
that really
like
killed
I said,
it for me.
I think the reason that I like the good stuff is because how easy it is to like write bad stuff. But
well,
like,
maybe I just haven't seen any good. No, I
yes,
I
you
just,
have, but you have,
why
because
I really do
think
hate
about
them.
think about your favorite movie, Things to Do in Detroit Before You Die.
Denver?
That whole scene where he monologues to that girl, he says all that stuff, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
That is literally just spoken word applied to like a conversation, but it's not a real conversation. That is just him delivering a soliloquy, which is exactly what spoken word is. So
well,
I mean,
if he was doing it, I would probably like it. So
that's what I'm saying, though. Like, and it's the same with this movie. This movie is almost entirely built on top of the bed of spoken word, with the monologue that the main character does the entire way through in the movie that we watched this week, which Danon, I'd like you to introduce, because I forgot.
What are you eating, Danon?
Nice. Yeah. What? Yeah. We need to know.
I can't.
Is that like cauliflower
what do you
hot
think
wings?
it is?
That? Yeah.
No, they're just
It
regular
looks
hot
like a
wings.
massive boneless wing.
Jeremy's got it.
Oh,
yeah.
it's
Yes!
Yeah.
it looked like not chicken. It looked like chicken that was.
It doesn't look edible. I'll give you
It
that.
looks like deep fried shit, is what it looks like.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
that's why I
it's
couldn't
a bit
figure out what it was.
brown in this.
Looks delicious.
What
setting.
flavor
It's
is
great.
that?
Hot. I
Is
don't
it
know.
original
It's
hot
like
buffalo?
It's a hot
Something like
flavor.
that.
Now,
Wings
if
are
Hot
keto.
Buffalo was doing slam poetry, I'd listen.
I would listen to a hot buffalo.
That's
giving slam
actually.
poetry.
I mean, it's a
Right.
part of their metal set. Yeah. Sorry. Excuse me while I'm eating while we stream. I'm almost done. I just got home.
What is this? A fucking mukbang?
I haven't. What?
A mukbang. That's the Korean thing where they like gorge on food on camera.
Oh,
like Twitch?
and stream it. Yeah. I mean, I could do
all
that.
those YouTube people.
mukbang or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it.
David
I'm
Dobrik.
so old. I don't understand any of this.
Oh, it's disgusting. I think.
Why would
Like, I
anyone
mean,
watch that?
I don't know. It's like a
Oh,
whole
but
subculture.
people do.
Though. There's
Yeah,
this
it's
guy.
hugely
His name
popular.
is Nico Cotto Avocado Nikado, something like that. This guy, he was just like a regular YouTube dude, and then he started doing mukbangs, and he gained like 200 pounds over the course of a year, and he's like really unhealthy now, and people
God,
are
I'm
kind of
old.
concerned about him.
I watched an unboxing, a drum cover, and then a mukbang, and then I set fire to my house because I was so fucking irritated. 'Cause all three of those are so fucking stupid. I'm sorry. Unboxing, stupid.
Why are drum covers?
I'm done.
Drum covers?
I don't
stupid.
understand
That's
why-
not a cover. That is not a cover. That is you playing drums to another song. That's not a cover. It's not a cover.
Well, what should they call
A
it?
drum cover.
A drum.
A
You know
drum
what would be better is a
performance?
drum playthrough.
That's what they are called now, I think. Like
Anything to pretend, but you pretend that you're playing a song because you're playing drums to a song is what the cover implies, and that's just what irritates me.
Well, I mean,
So
if
what
they're
if
playing
it-
the
Yeah.
drums that were played during the song, that's a cover.
This is a generational thing, right? This is a generational thing, right? Because I
What,
think
the
it's just-
drummers are less talented than guitarists? I mean, this is a ridiculous opinion to have. The drums
no,
are
no.
incredibly
That's
difficult.
not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying if you turn off the cover that they're playing to, it's just drums.
But you can
So
tell
not
what
a
the drums
cover.
are. You can tell what the drums
You
are.
can absolutely tell which drums. Just because you grew up in a generation with hair metal where
Well-
every fucking drum beat was the same doesn't
That's
mean
true.
that that's how it works.
Don't attack me for being.
I am literally listening to drum covers right now to organize the drums on our album. They're not labeled, they're numbered. And so I have to listen to every track, the overhead microphones to figure out what fucking song it is. I'm listening
And
to drum
guess what?
covers.
He knows what fucking songs they are based
I
off of
do.
just the drums.
I do.
That's what I'm saying. There's very few songs. There are some that have some very signature drums. When you hear it, you're like, oh, we're not going to take it. Speaking of hair metal, but very few. Therefore, like I said, if you turn the music off, it's now just a guy playing drums. It is no longer a drum cover. But if someone's playing acoustic guitar and singing and there's no music behind him, that's a cover. See? He's covering a song.
Right.
What if he was
Right.
playing
This
the
is like the
drums but
weirdest-
singing
Bass
at the same
covers.
time?
A bass cover.
Now he's attacking Jeremy. Jeremy's literally done bass covers.
I know. I'm attacking Jeremy
but-
right now. Not impressed.
Well, that's true actually, but the deal is I'm really good.
That's the difference, though.
So people, well, they just still don't want to listen to me. but-
I'm going to start making unboxing drum covers. I'm
There
going to
you
unbox the
Unboxing
drums.
drum covers.
I mean, unboxings I do think are a bit
And then
silly,
play 'em.
but
And then at the
Play
end,
'em.
you eat them. It's a
Although I did find
mukbang.
an unboxing that I liked, but I got bored of it after a while. But it's this dude who buys just Gibson guitars basically, and then he turns around and sells them. So
the worst.
Is it
it's really
Trogley?
nerdy. Yeah, Trogley.
Trogley Guitar Show.
Yeah, Trogley Guitar
I
Show
love
is
that.
great.
show.
Isn't it great? That's what I'm talking about.
So good.
And the guy's so nerdy. Oh my God, Trogley's so nerdy.
Yes.
Dude.
Oh, he's the worst.
God, he's a
Worst.
twerp, but he's great. That's part of his charm. But
Yeah.
he gets some crazy ass guitars, and he charges way too much for his stuff. I would never buy anything from his reverb channel, but he
No.
gets some shit in there that you would never see otherwise. And he's so knowledgeable. It was fun to watch. So it's not like, so yeah, this is this is styrofoam, which is most covers,
Right.
right? It's a phone. It's got a front. It's got a back. It's got sides. You're like that. Why am I watching it? Why would anyone fucking watch this?
Daryl, I think like once again you are confusing disliking something with just disliking bad content. I think you just don't like bad content, no matter
That's
what.
a good
it's,
point. That's a fair
like,
point.
No matter how it's delivered to you.
I don't like. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had
and
I had a conversation online. Not a conversation. I posted a comment in response to something that somebody said online that really fucking irked me, and it was this is my dear asshole.
Cool. I'm gonna get another.
I-
beer.
We're in it.
This happened.
I saw somebody post something online. It was about learning Japanese. These people were basically, there's like a thread about like, oh man, Japanese class is so frustrating because like half the class are people that like want to go to Japan someday, and the other half of the class are a bunch of like anime nerds that are like shouting like Japanese memes or whatever. And which I don't have a problem with that. I think that it's absolutely true that like some people who are really into anime and want to learn Japanese have like a very inappropriate understanding of like what speaking Japanese actually is. And somebody likened it to like, imagine if you're like trying to learn English and everybody in the class was just like shouting phrases that Steve Austin would say or something.
Annoying.
It's you'd be like, that's not.
Look what the Rock is cooking. Oh, that's not.
Yeah, exactly. Like shit like that. Like
And
you're
that's
go-
the bottom
cream
line.
rises to the top. It's
Yeah,
like they
yeah.
think that this is like real English. But somebody said like watching anime is a terrible way to learn Japanese. The only thing but I would watch Studio Ghibli films because and this is a guy who apparently was learning Japanese. I would watch Studio Ghibli films because they're not really anime. And this I feel like ties back into what you were saying about like not liking this like general concept of a thing, is that Studio Ghibli films are absolutely anime. In fact,
they really?
they are some of the like greatest works of art that the medium that anime
Jimmy.
has produced.
Jeremy's turning into an octopus down there.
I know he's really getting it.
You're absolutely
But I guess the thing that really frustrates me is like, yeah, there's a lot of bullshit anime that sucks and like, you know, they frame tits and thighs in every other shot and like it's all fan service and whatever.
yeah.
But like it's just it's an artistic medium just like anything else. It's like looking at fucking, you know, David as a sculpture and being like, well, vases are stupid. So David's not really a sculpture because, everybody could have a vase, but nobody could have David. It's like you have to celebrate the excellent pieces of art that come out of a medium and respect that they came from that medium, because otherwise it's completely it like ruins a lot of the meaning, I think, for something to like be exemplary of the thing that it came from. And then for you to be like, yeah, but it's not really like Scorsese's not really a filmmaker. I mean, Marvel movies are films. Scorsese, like that's its own thing. It's like it's ridiculous opinion to
that
have.
you haven't found the Scorsese of unboxing videos
or slam poetry.
Well, I think you did.
I think I have.
Yeah, you
I
found the
think I
guy
have. I
that's
think it's
nerdy about
Probably Guitar
guitars.
Show, right? It would had to be something that I was interested in, but I still got bored of it after a while and stopped watching. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that could happen to anything. But yeah, general unboxings. And you're right, Ben. I talk about this a lot with he'll listen to me blather. Is there is so much content out there, but most of it's bad, right? That's the biggest problem with everyone having a phone, and anyone can do a podcast like our little podcast here. Is there's very little good content, so you have to separate so much chaff from the wheat, if you will. It gets exhausting after a while, especially if someone separating the wheat from the chaff. It's an old people saying. Find the good stuff from the garbage. And at this point in my life, I'm old is what it is. And I don't have the patience that I used to. Right. And so after a while, and I see a few of these things and I'm like, like I said, a lot of stuff is generational for me too, right? Like I don't understand drum covers. I don't know why anyone would watch them. I don't even know why anyone would do them. Bass covers another one. Sorry, Jeremy. I don't understand it.
I don't really do, I don't really, okay, just a correction, Ben.
Yeah?
I've never done a whole bass cover. I've
seen your fucking
I feel
Instagram.
like that medium is nice for Instagram because they're 15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like you're doing a
Check
full
out
song.
I would never do a
on
whole
Instagram.
bass cover song because no one's gonna watch that. But
Yeah, you're
15
right. It's not
seconds
going to be super entertaining.
on Instagram is really nice because then you could play something over the top of the track
That's different.
and show off for 15 seconds, and it's good. But I would never, because let's be real, if they're not gonna watch the drum cover, they're definitely not watching the whole bass cover.
Well, start doing drama covers without the music.
Definitely.
And see how many people watch. It's
I mean, you just
Speaking of
enter into
poetry-
the territory of drummers. I mean, I bet we could
We're never
call
gonna
Robbie
disagree.
right now and ask him if he watches videos of people playing the drums without.
Oh, I guarantee
backing
that he
tracks.
does.
All right,
And he'd be like, "Fuck yeah!"
let us know in the chat if you watch drum covers. I'm gonna start this fucking thing.
Did
We've
anyone
been
watch
going
drum
for
covers?
22 minutes, and we haven't even
Hey, this is important shit.
introduced ourselves yet. We
I haven't been on a
gotten
month.
about
I am built up.
Yeah,
I know.
you're
I was
right.
thinking that when I was getting my beer, I was like, we have a lot of shit talking to catch up on.
Right?
You're not wrong.
It's been pretty lax so far. So this
Hold
is
on, really quickly.
Okay.
When I get to Austin, is there some place to go see some good spoken word slam poetry or whatever? Because I'm open minded. I'll go if I get drunk enough. Anything's fun. And when COVID's all over, is there any place that you go to, Ben, that you frequent, bookstore or whatever?
Not actually. I haven't been to a slam poetry place in Austin. I have gone to slam poetry places, but in Pomona, I would recommend the Glass House. You can actually go there right now.
No fucking way I'm going to P-Town to listen to someone blather over it.
Wait, what about that open mic place
You
that you
just
guys
asked.
went to one time? There's no slam poetry there.
No, I didn't ask.
No.
When I moved to
the
Austin, we'll go somewhere
The,
first.
the Cactus Lounge does not have slam poetry on.
Did they
the
ban
nights that-
slam poetry? Because they banned it. They banned slam poetry at the Gypsy Den.
Did they
Dude,
really?
remember that last? I think that girl was doing spoken word, but remember that chick, dude? Jeremy?
Oh, they didn't. Yeah, you're right. That was
It was fucking horrible.
We
They
went
let her up there
one
because
time.
she was attractive. They're like, oh, she's pretty good. Her up there. It was terrible. My boyfriend doesn't love me anymore. It was that kind of shit. And I'm like,
sitting
is
in
this
this
sixth grade or seventh?
lonely house
Yes,
in Newport
it's-
Beach.
Man, they've really cracked down. They let a dude do fucking. They let a
Laying
dude do
on a
stand up.
stack of my father's money.
Yeah. What will I do with it all?
Yeah, stuffing my pillow with hundreds. I cry. Anyways, go ahead, Danon. We have
All
a.
right, yeah, we watched something.
All right, almost 25 minutes in. This is the We Like This podcast. I'm joined by myself, Danon Waters. Daryl Waters is back after weeks and weeks working his
Weeks.
outages. We got Ben Nickerson and Jeremy Dallas, and we watched A Bronx Tale like a month and a half ago.
Oh,
I don't know. It's been a while.
I watched it about 30 minutes ago.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I
Yeah,
finished it and then just jumped on.
Nice. That's the way to do it because I
really
last time
is,
I
yeah.
watched it, it was when we recommended it a few weeks ago before you started your outages, and it's
I wasn't gonna
good.
re-rent it.
Yeah, I it's good, so I remember a lot of it, but I also don't remember a lot of it. I don't have that.
perfect.
I don't have that post-watch clarity that I need.
That post,
Hmm.
wow.
Uh,
What are you doing when you
Interesting.
watch
a
these
bit-
movies?
a bit close to the.
Post-watch
Is it,
clarity.
Hey man,
Is
I
it
have my own
softly
place
lit?
now. Okay.
That's pretty good.
And here I'm trying to install fucking curtains. Dana's just.
I know, right?
I've got
Yeah.
curtains. I got curtains right there.
Yeah, plenty of curtains in
What
here.
are you talking about? Look at these curtains.
Yeah, they're not closed, but I got
Now
plenty
they're
of
closed.
curtains.
Yeah, I mean, I close them when I
Yeah.
need to. You know, I don't want anybody. I'm on the first floor, dude. Someone could look in and see my butthole or something. That would be really.
That's
weird.
exactly why I need curtains here, dude. Because like I
How
walk around my
often do you-
apartment naked all the time.
Oh, okay.
If a man can't walk naked in his own house, is he really a man? That's
I don't know. That's if you play drums to another song, is it really a drum cover?
all right. So basically, the movie starts off with our boy Calgero. Is that his name? Calegro? Calgina?
I think
Colodro.
that's
Calegro.
It's C.
all of these are
Goes by-
Yeah,
medications
C.
for antidepressant.
Calegro. The
Oh, Calegro.
old Calegro.
Ask
Depression
your doctor
hurts.
if you are
Calegro can
prepared
help.
for depression hurts.
Jesus. That was good. That was really good.
Depression hurts. Okay.
Oh my god.
So basically, the entire movie is framed as kind of his recollection, I guess. I mean, it seems like that's
Well, it's
That's-
narrated, correct, by Calogero.
Mm-hmm.
it's narrated, yeah, but like as
Um,
a back in the day when I was young and I was doing stuff.
Same
Like-
accent.
Same accent, actually. It's really weird that he's from the Bronx.
Yeah.
But it starts off kind of. I mean, it starts off like every single movie that's ever been filmed in New York for me. To be honest, like I wasn't super impressed right out of the gate, or at least every single movie that's like about the Bronx or Brooklyn or the Barrio or like literally any single one of them where he was like, yeah, this was a place with a lot of culture, and I hung out on my stoop, and there was people that they did things, and like they were the people in the neighborhood because I'm part of the neighborhood, and like this is gonna be about a neighborhood, and it's like it's not that that's bad, it's just that it didn't start strong for me. I was like, man, this is just gonna be another
They're just
another-
bringing you slow. They're just bringing you in slow.
another film about New York.
And this is
But-
an old movie at this point too. Not that gives it means anything, but
1993.
93
Yeah,
it came out
93.
the year that I was
93.
born.
like I said, old movie.
But then we dude, when we saw like the kid actors initially come on screen, I was actually a bit nervous, but those kid actors, they did actually did
Yeah,
a pretty
they
good
did
job.
pretty good.
Not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Yeah, I thought so.
Basically you have a couple of like just punk ass kids. Like there's no other way to describe them. They hang out on the stoop. There's an old guy that like is walking down the street with all of his shit, and he's just like, that's Peasant Joe. We busted Peasant Joe's balls, and they like ran up and like shouting in his face and stealing his fruit off of his cart, like
Kid
like
stuff.
just taking it,
Punks.
and like he's like, stop it, I'm gonna, damn it. And they're just like, they don't even run away. They just take his shit and like walk 10 paces away and sit down on their fucking stoop and like start eating it in front of him. He's just like, you fucking kids. But I guess like, yeah, it's important to establish that Robert De Niro's got a fucking little asshole for a kid.
Shit.
It is important.
That's not how I took it, but yeah, I guess that's a good point. Yeah, he's just a kid having fun, just punks of the street, if you will.
Punks
I mean, it
Name
does.
for band.
It feels like,
Punks of the
Daryl, I
street.
wanted to get your opinion on this. Is this a
Punks of the
proper?
street.
Is this a proper period piece, or is this one of those period pieces that's like, okay, it's the '60s? Like, how did you
What
feel
does that
about
mean?
this?
What does
Well,
that
you
mean?
always have an opinion about like, is this the '60s or is this how we remember the '60s? What's your opinion on this one?
Oh, I really have none because I've zero experience with New York and or the '60s. I mean, I didn't go to the Bronx. I have to trust the movie is telling me the truth.
I would
Right.
I would
because
I
I've
would
never
hope so.
been there, and I have no memory of that time period. So
This kind of
Right.
reminds me of like the Sandlots kind of interpretation of the 50s and 60s. You know, where they play a lot of
Yeah.
doo-wop. They even say that in the
Yeah,
beginning
yeah,
of the
yeah,
movie.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Yeah,
doo-wop
it's
was the
actually in the
thing.
narration.
There's a lot of doo-wop, and so it kind of plays into the romanticization
Romanticism.
of the. I'm just gonna keep drinking.
I think it
this.
is romanticized.
So, definitely,
ageism.
I think it's
I think it's
rom-
romanticized.
romanticized. So
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't know until today, even though I watched this movie a few weeks ago, that Robert De Niro wrote or
mhm.
he did.
It
Yeah, it was his
first-
debut
his
directorial.
debut
Exactly.
directorial debut.
Yeah, and a little bit
Debut
of backstory
directorial
on
debut.
the story here. It's based on a play written by the guy who plays fucking Sonny.
Sonny.
Yeah,
Jazz Palminteri.
yeah, Chaz Palminteri. And it's a one-man show, an autobiographical one-man show that he wrote in 1989.
Sounds like something that Daryl would hate.
I love it.
Probably.
I don't
yeah,
know
actually.
how you do that as a one-man show.
Oh, yeah, this
That-
is
All right.
there's a lot of
Blows my
characters in
mind.
this. So
Well, I'm sure that the monologue was just like the
It's
kid's
gotta-
monologue was probably the entire show.
it's
and then-
probably
yeah.
all monologue. I can't find anything else on the actual show itself. I also didn't look at all. So there's that
I
problem.
Can't find it.
I don't
as-
have no
I
idea.
haven't- I
Where could it
haven't.
be?
It's not under my bed. I actually love live theater. I haven't been in a long time, but I really love live theater actually, which you wouldn't think that I would. And I really like musicals. Go there too. Why not?
That also
I really-
surprised me.
I really
Even
like
when I was
musicals,
younger and
but-
you said that. Yeah, you
Mhm.
love like the Les Miserables, right?
Great.
The original. Yeah.
hmm
Mm.
And there's also a non-musical version that I really like too. The one with Liam Neeson and Claire Danes and
I heard about that. I haven't seen it.
it's
Yeah.
it's
I
really
heard-
it's a good, if you just want the story and not the music, it's a good version of it.
That's what I want. I
Hmm.
can't stand what are they all through musicals? I think it's what they're called. Or something like that.
The
Or they
the
sing
and
the
the Hugh
entire
Jackman
time.
one was not great.
A sung
And
through
they
musical.
added some songs
sung through
that were
musical.
not great. It's just too goddamn long.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think a good musical length is like
Disney movie.
70 minutes.
90 minutes.
Yeah.
60 minutes. Give me out.
I mean, there's just not a lot. Like when you're doing singing all the time, it's like okay, like fuck.
I didn't like musicals until I saw freaking La La Land.
still haven't
And
seen
I was
it.
like,
Okay.
you know what? I like musicals.
That is-
because
I like me some musicals.
I like me some musicals.
I
Oh.
like that red-haired girl. She's pretty.
Because you know, I think you grow up on Disney musicals and you think that's all musicals are like big orchestral numbers, but this one had like jazz music in it and it had all this different kind of stuff going on, and it
Alright,
was set
alright.
in modern times, and I was like, oh, this is cool. So
La La
musicals can be
Land.
cool.
is a fantastic movie. There's only about
Yeah.
like 4 songs in La La Land though. It's
Really?
it's
What?
not
Man.
it's
only
not
4
Is it
songs?
good?
it's not very musical heavy, you know. I mean the opening sequence, which is very like big Showtime musical kind of stuff, and everything else past that is very subdued. So there's only a few, I think
I mean,
maybe 5.
Actually,
I haven't seen it because it
Maybe.
doesn't look good to me.
It's a really good. I really like
Is it?
that
I guess
movie.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
It-
I'm just a big fan of show tunes in general. Actually, like I like musicals, but I actually specifically like the silly sounding songs that come out of musicals, like fuck Chicago. He had it coming. He had, like I think I find them very catchy.
I can't get into
uh,
Chicago.
That's really interesting. I like musicals. You know what's funny is that
It won't let you into the city, or
the reason that I like musicals, I think, is because I had a formative moment when I was in 5th grade. There was we put on a musical at my freaking elementary school, like, and I'm sure it was actually terrible, but my recollection was seeing this girl on stage. Her name was Grace, and she sang like her part in the musical, and it was like super perfect and on key
In 5th grade.
and like in 5th grade everything, and like literally, dude, I was like smitten on the spot. I didn't have a real crush until 5th grade, and I like looked at her singing and I was like, oh my god. I then found
This
out
is
later
love.
that it was actually the director of the musical who was standing off stage singing
Oh, dude.
behind
fake
her.
love.
Dang.
But I fell in love with Grace.
My
you
love
see.
was built on a lie.
My whole love is a lie.
So my very first crush was literally like it was, and I learned this while I still had the crush on the girl. I was like, because obviously the musical is still going, and I wanted to watch her sing again. And then I
Dude, you got
realized-
Milli Vanilli.
I looked off stage. I literally looked off stage, and I was like, oh, she's the one singing.
Like, why does that fifth grader have such a womanly voice?
It was, I mean, that womanly voice, it opened
hilarious.
my mind to that, and I think that's why I like musicals now. Is that like it was a very formative moment for me. So I'm
I
all about
guess so.
musicals. I actually thought this might be a musical. It was going that
Bronx
way when he
Tale.
started talking about doo-wop, and then it like the camera like slow pans onto the doo-wop people, and I was like, if these motherfuckers break out into song and start walking through and describing the plot of
These
this movie.
Yeah, if they
Motherfuckers.
give me exposition in song form, I'm fucking out, dude. Okay.
Except I would have been like even more in. I would have been like, I can't believe Daryl fucking suggested a musical.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Would
so
have been like a
great.
West Side Story thing going on.
And that's the thing about musicals. Though, I really have to be in the mood for one. Like, I'm not just
Mm-hmm.
gonna. I don't just watch. Like, so that's why I haven't watched La La Land yet, because I'm just like, this doesn't look good. This looks like a lot of work. That's why I haven't watched it yet.
The music in
So-
La La Land is fucking. Oh,
Who
so
directed
good.
that again?
Damien Chazelle, the guy who did Whiplash.
Well, I did really like Whiplash. I watched it again recently. but
What? Really? Oh,
I love
Whiplash.
I
Whiplash.
like
I think
me
it's
some
great.
Whiplash.
I think it's great.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
good. It's so good.
There's so many questions asked. Like, yes, he's an asshole, but maybe that's what it takes to make someone great. You know, I like that it asks that question. It asks the audience that question. It's for you to make your mind up about that, because the end scene, right, where he tries to fuck him,
So good.
Yeah, he
But
turns the tables.
and you're sitting there going, okay, well, this guy's horrible because he's throwing symbols and everything, but he made this kid good, or did he? You know, it's
Right.
great. That's what I love about that movie.
Yeah. There is
I think
that
it's fantastically acted.
that tiny little smile that J.K. Simmons, that smile of respect at the
Mhm.
very last before it cuts to the credits is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You just
That's how you
fucking
fucking
hate
end a
him.
movie, dude. Oh my
right,
god.
and you hate him, but you
Mhm.
respect what he's doing on some level.
Yeah.
Like,
You
I would
understand.
fucking, I want to strangle him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's
It's
like, what do you
terrible.
have to sacrifice to be the best of the best?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
your entire life. I mean, I
Yeah.
that movie has definitely informed me on like what it is to be best in class at anything.
Real quick story from my past. I was in a rock band in the early '90s, and we this current singer we had left, and the drummer too. And we got a new drummer, and he was way too good for us. But we got this singer. He came all the way down from Canada, and we were playing some shows and shit like that. And then we're like having a band meeting, just bullshitting. And one day he's like, "Hey, let's sell everything we own." And he owned nothing, so he was talking to us. Sell everything you own. Let's buy a van and hit the fucking road. Just head towards Arizona, and we'll get gigs when we get there, and we'll go and we'll just fucking do it. And all of a sudden, like, my brother's like, "Well, I got a girlfriend." We're like, "Oh, well, we got jobs." No. And he's like, "You fuckers are never gonna make it. Just quit now." And he was right, because we weren't willing to jump in a van and sell everything we owned and drive across the United States. You know what I mean? And I think in a way it takes that, and that's what I'm like about Whiplash too, is that kid was willing to sell everything you own, jump in a van, drive across the United States. Because if you don't have
Yeah.
that, I don't think it's gonna happen.
But I'm
That
also
brutal
Yeah,
scene where he explains to the girl he's dating
Yeah.
exactly what you're just talking about. It's like,
Mhm.
we can't be together because I literally don't have time for anything else, and that
I
includes
want to be
you.
great, and it's
Mhm.
you will hold me back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well, and that,
fucking-
I think my opinion of that has kind of shifted pretty strongly. Of like, I don't think it's worth it, for me at least, to be the best at literally anything. Like, understanding, like growing up and understanding finally like what it means to be like number one at literally basically anything. It's just not. I don't think it's worth it. I don't envy anybody that is the best at what they do. Literally, there's not a single person that is the best at whatever it is that they do that I envy, because I'm just like, you know what, dude, you've sacrificed literally every other aspect of like
They don't have lives.
Everything.
life
Yeah.
to do
They don't
this
have
thing.
lives. Yeah.
And it's like, that's a great testament to human achievement, but I literally could not feel less like, I'm like, man, I bet you fucking probably might be a little bit happier if you didn't do that. Like,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think a lot of people they don't have friends, they don't have family anymore. You know, they fucked everyone over to get where they're at. I think it's what it requires to be that amazing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
And that's not even talking like that. That's just like technical skills. There's also like sports, like bested fucking sports, where it also destroys your body too. And it's just like fuck, dude. I don't think it's worth it to be the best at anything. I think it's worth it to be good at things. I just don't think that anybody should ever be the best at anything. I think we should all be trying to not be the best at whatever thing is because it's just not. Like,
well,
the accolade is not worth it to me.
It's a balance, right? You want to enjoy your life and be good at what you do, but to be the best at what you do or be amazing or whatever, you have to give up your whole entire life to do it. So
right, and I think that our
Bronx
friend,
Tale.
I think our friend Calgero actually learned that through his time with
What's his name now? Calgero?
Calgero.
I think our friend
Kal-El? I think
Cal
is it
Cal
Kal-El?
Drago.
Calgero. So basically Calgero as a kid, he's like really envious of this guy Sonny, who's clearly like a mob boss. I guess he's like the mob boss on the corner, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna do the things that
Point with three hands.
Yeah, he's got 5 fingers, but he only uses 3.
Yeah, that's it.
And like, it's kind of sad to see this like 9-year-old kid like looking up to this clearly like mobster, and then like very quickly there's like some interaction that happens on the street. A guy starts hitting a car with a baseball bat, and then Sonny just shoots the dude dead.
Yeah.
Just like very happily in the middle of daylight, just bop 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 bop, and he looks over and sees the kid, and then is like, that was the first time that Sonny ever looked at me. Like very like almost loving vibe. Just like, man, finally, you know, I got Sonny to look my way. You know?
After he just had to kill someone for it to happen.
Yeah.
In broad daylight.
Yeah.
In broad daylight, and then the cops are like, all right, kid, clearly you saw what happened, like tell us who did it. And he doesn't say anything. And for whatever reason, this meant that Sonny really respected him. I thought this was an interesting.
He
Kid didn't snitch. The kid didn't snitch.
Yeah.
But like, it's so funny to me because what if the kid did snitch?
Dead. His
Right.
family dead. His mother dead.
Everybody in the ground, right? So it's so funny. It's like like if I'm thinking in terms of respect, right? The kid's old enough to understand that if I snitches get stitches, right? Like at least that. So like, is it really worth, in my mind, being super like impressed by this kid that he didn't snitch to the cops when like he should be old enough to understand that like really bad things happen to snitching kids, and like even though he didn't like fully understand things, it's just like you recognize, right, that like this kid like had a 90% chance of not snitching on you because he's got to be terrified of the idea.
Yeah, but I can think in the moment, like when the detectives are sweating him, they're lying to the kid, actually, kind of, if you think about it, because they're like, nothing's going to happen. You'll be fine. You'll be safe. Yeah. And it's like, that's not true. Like, those cops are lying to the kid. They're telling him, no, it's no big deal. If you saw something, you just got to tell us. We'll come. You'll be fine. We'll come down. And De Niro knows it. De Niro's like, De Niro is actually the one who's like, you shut up. Yeah. Like, you shut your freaking mouth, because he knows that we're all dead if you talk. He tries to hide him from the cops. So I think maybe in the moment you could be impressed with the kid because the cops were sweating him. There's these adults telling him, and they're lying to him. They're telling him he'll be fine, no big deal. You just gotta, you know. And they're trying to tell him that if he tells us what happened, you'll be a hero. You know. So I think maybe in the moment I could see how you might be like, okay, this kid is streetwise. He didn't crack under the pressure of the cops, and even though he's a little kid, he understands the law of the street. Like, he understands from a young age, like, yeah, that's right, you freaking don't snitch. 9-year-old kid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's not a
9-year-old
mob boss.
little bastard.
You little use
guys.
Use
there's not a mob boss that was alive in the 60s that could have been better to take little C under their wing than freaking Sonny. I mean, it is a funny thing because Sonny is clearly he's a bad guy, but he, like, for whatever reason is like, but you're not gonna take up this life. Like, I'm gonna give you like real like legitimate morals, even though I shoot people and shit. Like you got to go to college and stuff. It's a funny take on that because most of the time, I mean, like you think about mob movies in general, and it's like, oh, I'm trying to get out. They drag me back in, and oh, I got a wife and kids, but then my boy with his slick hair, he shows up and he tells me that's just one last job, and then I shoot a girl and her boyfriend, and now I gotta get shot in the asshole. It's like, it's like fucking. It's so interesting to me how cognizant of like, how bad it would be for Calgero to grow up to be a freaking mobster.
Calgero.
Yeah, Calgero.
Yeah, and Sonny also continues to tell him how stupid his friends are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
friends are pretty
All his
stupid.
friends are gangsters. Like they're all kind of growing up the same way he is, and he's like continuously telling them, "Your friends are stupid."
Friends are stupid,
Your
man. You don't
friends
want to
are
do this. Why are you
idiots.
buying guns outside of the thing? Don't buy guns out here. You fucking
Yeah.
idiot. Like you got to go
Which
to
I think-
college.
That's which I've never seen this movie before. Oh, this is the first time, and I really like that both of the father figures are these like they're kind of shades of gray. Like De Niro's character has a lot of points, but he's really wrong on a couple things.
Yeah.
And this mobster guy is clearly ethically like wrong about a lot of things. The working man's a sucker and all that, but he gets a lot of things right, and he's actually a hugely positive influence for the most part.
Yeah,
on
right.
this kid,
That's
you
a-
know?
That's
It
one
is
of the
funny,
things
yeah.
that really stood out to me when I was watching this movie is I really liked how the mob side of the entire thing was just a backdrop. It wasn't
Mhm.
a major player in the plot. And Sonny and Calgero, whatever his name is, their relationship is actually very like positive in a way, and what's his name? Lorenzo, who is Calgero's real dad, is kind of wrong about a lot of this stuff. And like Sonny is like, as you said, he's a positive influence on his life, and he's not just trying to get him into the mob or something like that, but he's actually looking out for him and using his experience to keep Sonny or Calgero from getting into trouble.
And
He's
it's
like, you're
Calogero.
gonna.
That's
what
right.
is it?
Yeah, I was looking up the
Calogero?
Calogero.
Calogero.
How's it spelled?
Calogero.
What is this?
It's
Don't look at how
Calogero.
it's spelled. It's not spelled how it sounds.
Calogero. It is spelled how it sounds.
Calogero.
Oh, it is
Yeah,
spelled how it sounds?
yeah,
Calogero.
Calogero.
It's Italian. I mean, Italian is.
Calogero.
Calogero.
Come on down. Calogero.
Come on down, Calogero.
You got a Calogero in here?
But yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because basically,
Your
like,
mother's looking for you. Sorry.
Lorenzo's he's Jesus.
Welcome back.
Lorenzo's like a bus driver. He's got a city job. Is what he describes. it.
Right.
And Sonny is like just a straight up mobster. Like he's clearly just in the bad crowd. He's the leader of the bad crowd. And Lorenzo says over and over again, people don't respect Sonny. They fear him. And then we learn later that Sonny like did 10 years in the joint where he read Machiavelli's The Prince and like employs it in his daily life. I thought that was really funny. It's just like, oh yeah, just like Hitler. That's really cool. but I mean, yeah, it's basically how he employs it. And then he very clearly says in no uncertain terms, like, I would rather be feared than loved because fear lasts a lot longer. Like, so it's
Well,
interesting.
that's the best line in the movie when Calogero asks him, "Is it better to be feared or loved?" Because his old man is loved, but Sonny is feared, and so that's what's
Yeah.
cool about the two different father figures he has. Right? They couldn't be any more opposite. Like nobody gives a shit about the bus driver, except the fact that he's respected and loved. If he died, people would probably care. Where
Right.
Sonny, they just fear him. They don't
Mhm.
actually love him. They just fear him. So,
Yeah, he's just,
but
uh,
Sonny
Yeah.
still, like you're saying, still somehow has a moral compass. Strangely enough, even though he's a complete criminal,
Mhm.
it's way
Right.
still a right and wrong in his
Yeah.
own world. He follows
Absolutely.
a set of rules.
it's way different from any other kid grows up with the mob
Yeah.
film that I've ever
Like
seen.
Goodfellas, where it's the same thing in a way where Henry Hill comes in young as a kid basically, and they're happy to turn him into a bad guy.
Mhm.
They're happy
Right.
to do it. You know, the first time
Oh,
he gets
yeah.
selling cigarettes, they give him money and celebrate him for not rolling over in the courtroom. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
Um,
right.
it's a just completely different situation. They were happy to make this guy a criminal, where Sonny's going out of his way to, even though he knows what, you know, this is his, he Sonny accepts this is the world he was born into and what he is and what he does, but he
Right,
doesn't want him into it, you know.
Yeah.
But he still feels like he has some guidance for him, you
right,
know.
and the beats of this movie, looking back, they're not that complicated actually. There's a lot of character development for sure, but the beats of the movie are pretty simple. It's I'm a kid, I see this guy kill somebody, I don't rat on him. He takes me under my like his wing. He tells me that my friends are a bunch of fuckers. I like me being close to this guy makes it difficult for me to be close with my dad because they have completely opposite moral things. I fall in love with a black girl, and then my friends hate black people, and then I'm like, fuck, my friends are bad because they hate black people, but I'm in love with black people, and then like they all die in a fiery car accident, and I'm like really thankful because Sonny pulled me out of the car right before that happened.
Yeah, that was cool when Sonny pulled him out of the car. And also, Sonny doesn't care. Sonny doesn't care what race she is. He's like, you know, how do you feel about this girl? That's all he cares about.
Right,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I thought that was very
Yeah.
cool too. It was very interesting.
Especially
particular character.
especially when framed against Lorenzo's like, well, what do you can't find a white girl? Like,
Yeah.
I thought that was really
Yeah.
interesting.
Or
it was
Italian,
the-
you know, wouldn't
Yeah.
find an Italian.
That's it's the thing. I don't know if that's like I don't know if that is something about like Italian Americans on the East Coast, or they are very much about like we keep it in the family. I think that's a real thing because I've seen, and the only reason I can say that is because in a lot of movies like this, or not even movies, like if you watch The Sopranos, like that's something that Tony Soprano's always like railing on his children about, like we keep it in the family, like we date other Italians, you know. And so like I don't know what that is, but it's funny because Lorenzo is almost he's almost too old school. Like he's old school in the sense like you make an honest buck, you work hard, and that's good. But then there's a lot of, you know, tradition has its good things and its bad things, and in some ways he's sticking to his tradition so hard that he's not even willing to realize like, hey man, you should, you know, there's some traditions that are dumb, like we keep it in the that's stupid, you know.
Yeah, and he even like it's so funny because Lorenzo, when he's telling his son, like, you know, I don't want you marrying a black girl, it's like he's like, it's not that like it's not that I'm like, you know, racist or biased. I think he says like I'm not biased or anything, but like, you know, like there's just some things that you should do. Like Italians should marry Italians. It's just, you know,
Right.
it just seems like I'm nice to the colored folks on the bus, but like, you know, that's on the bus, not in like I'm not gonna marry them. And it was like such an old opinion that probably was pretty prevalent in the time period that this is set in. That it's like really funny. Again, I think this is
the 60s, so yeah.
yeah, it's like it's
Yeah.
it's such a clearly framed thing where it's like the kind-hearted thief almost that is Sonny, who is like, stay out of trouble, you know, stay in school, don't do drugs, don't throw Molotov cocktails at
Shop owners, yeah.
At the neighbor kids.
at the neighbor
Well,
kids.
it's interesting you point that out, right, too, because it's like you have these two, you know, these two completely different father figures, right? The Colodro's involved with, and that's what's cool about it is you have the bus driver dad who follows the laws and the rules and everything, but he's also very traditional. And then you have Sonny, who's a criminal, but he's way more open-minded when it comes to relationships and everything. You know, I mean, which is interesting. And really quick, it's early in the film. One of my favorite parts is when the bikers show up. I love
so
Oh
good.
yeah, they
fucking
beat the
part.
shit
That's
out
one of
those
the only
guys.
scenes
Fucking
I'd
love
already
that
seen in this movie. It's like,
so
I think
great.
it's a kind of a famous scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
All right, you guys are being rude. Now you just have to leave.
yeah.
And they're like, we're not going anywhere. Yeah, go watch the bikes. And then he's like, he goes
Yeah.
and locks the door. He's like,
And he locks the door.
Yeah, that's
well,
fucking.
now you can't
crazy.
leave.
Yeah, it's a fucking great scene, man. I love
Yeah.
that scene so much. It's they just beat the living shit out of him.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And that
come
scene,
to our
know that
neighborhood.
dude, too. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
that scene leads up. So they basically beat the shit out of these biker kids, like whatever. They throw them out of the thing. They like leave them on the street, like all bloody and bruised and shit. And then the very next scene is when C is trying to buy a gun.
Yeah.
and he gets caught by Sonny, who's like, "What the fuck is this? You're selling guns on the streets? Like you're gonna get us all pinched," which I guess
Yeah.
is
Right.
that's them getting arrested, I guess. But
And
like
pinched,
he like
I think.
yeah, and pinched by the
The
guy.
pincher.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
get you. So basically, like he chases these guys away, but he tells C to stick back, and he has the exact same conversation that they actually have in Friday between the father and
Never
and
made
Ice
that
Cube.
connection, but
It's
I guess
the
you're
exact same conversation, which is like, what you think, having a
right.
gun?
When I was growing up, all you needed was these.
All you needed was these. It's basically what Sonny tells him. He's like, "What, you think you're a tough guy because you got a gun?" I love that though. He's like, when you
Yeah.
find out somebody's a tough guy is when the other guy pulls out a gun too. Then you see who's really tough.
Mhm.
So many I never known more bedwetters than people who own guns or something like that. It's a really great scene where he's just like, "Don't buy it, like, you fucking idiot. Like, guns don't make you tough," which is such a funny thing coming from the guy that shot a dude dead in the street to
Yeah,
kick
that's the
off
guy-
their whole.
That's the guy who knows. You
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's a funny wisdom.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is prevalent throughout the entire film, of like this thing, and that's I don't know how to feel about it necessarily, because the thing is, like, Sonny, it never came to a boiling point. There was only a very specific moment where C wants to go date Jane, so he borrows Sonny's like, borrow my car. And then he has an altercation with Jane because he may have had a hand in beating up her brother previously,
hand.
because
Might
the
have been there.
Italians and the black kids have beef in the movie, and it causes like some problems. So he goes home, he's like really upset, whatever, he leaves, and then Sonny like comes and finds him a couple hours later and is like slapping him around. Is like, "What the fuck you do with my car? Like, why was there a bomb or whatever in my car? Like, you trying to fucking kill me?"
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be like the turning point of the film. It was like, okay, so
Yeah.
Sonny is the film feels like Sonny is going to turn out to be the ultimate bad guy the entire time, because like it's like he's getting closer and closer to Sonny, and Sonny's like saying, yeah, he's got all these nice platitudes, whatever, but he's still a criminal, and ultimately like he's not gonna let C off the hook with being a criminal, is what it felt like. But that never actually came to pass. It was this anxiety, I think, that's been like bred into me from like every other mob movie that I've watched.
Yeah.
And I think it was a refreshing change of pace for him to legitimately be earnest. Not just he legitimately did not want anything from C, it feels like, except to like show him a better path in life.
Yeah.
And really take him under his wing, which it's such a tried trope now, where it's like, oh, I'm
Well,
under the wing of the mob boss, right?
He probably wants C to be what he never was or never had a chance to be. You know,
Mhm.
it sure feels like Sonny was, for whatever reason, was destined, if you will, to be the mob boss that he is. Like, I mean, see, almost like he never had a choice in life, and he sees C is better than that, than his dumb friends, right, who want to be gangsters.
Right.
And he feels like he has a chance. Probably this is his own chance at some personal redemption, right? Like getting this kid out of the life or never allowing him into it.
Really quick, hey
Right.
Hornet, thanks for joining in. Leave us your review, whatever number out of 10, because we'll read it at the end. So, but
Yeah, leave us a review,
continue.
Hornet.
Yeah.
It's 1 out of 10 stings.
Hornet
Alright,
humor.
so-
Here we go.
Jesus.
All right, I'm sorry, Hornet. It was bad. I apologize. It was
But
terrible.
the whole, yeah, I mean, I think I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and I also got the impression that Sonny he kept saying nobody cares. That it all starts with that, right? Like, well, Mickey, who's the Yankee player, is like, your dad. If your dad lost his job, would he give you, like, would he pay your rent? I don't think so. Like, nobody cares. Like, there's a bunch of moments in the movie where he says nobody cares, and then Sonny gets shot in the head at the end of the movie, and he's one of the C is one of the few people who cares.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. If you haven't seen this movie from 1993.
Well, I just thought that was I thought it was an interesting thing that they set up like that Sonny feels like nobody cares, and it's like not until the very end of the movie that C realizes that
Nobody cares.
maybe nobody cares except for him.
Yeah,
and Joe
nobody does
Pesci.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Joe
Yeah.
Pesci.
Who was at the beginning of the movie? I didn't notice that the first time. I did like a little. I watched
'Cause
like a
he was
little
the one that
recap
got-
video.
Yeah, he got his ass kicked or something. I had to do that too on rewatching. I was like, oh, that's Joe Pesci from the beginning. Okay,
He was in the beginning too.
That's
yeah, the
respect
first
thing
time
going on is he helped him out.
Yeah, he was in the
Yeah.
he was in the parking.
Yeah,
He was in the
yeah.
parking.
he was getting
scuffle.
attacked by the guy with the baseball bat.
Yeah,
Right.
that Sonny shot. So that's
Yeah.
what that connection is.
I love that. Was that really a fight over a parking space? No. That was-
Although people have fought over parking spaces and shot each other.
yeah,
Yeah,
it does
that's
happen.
true. They're probably not in the mob though. At least not most of them.
No, they're just dumbasses. A parking spot is really never that important, right? So
No.
if anyone comes away from this podcast with anything, do not shoot someone else over a parking spot, especially at a Walmart, because that's usually where it happens. I mean, what
Right.
is at Walmart that could be that important to shoot somebody over?
How about toilet paper in a pandemic?
Oh.
Yeah.
Now we're
Yeah.
talking. Now we're
There we
talking.
Now we're talking.
What
Now
about
we're
those
talking.
rollbacks? Huh? What about those rollbacks?
Those rollbacks.
Come on, fucking thing bouncing around doing the
Put it-
rollbacks.
Put it on layaway, man. Come on.
You guys, that's so funny that you fucking say that because that was a fucking legit thing, dude. Layaway was a fucking thing that we did back in the day. It was.
It's
for
just
reals.
credit card. It's the you just fucking.
They would hold on to it. It wasn't really credit card though, because if you didn't make your payments, they just never gave you the bed, and you never got your $70 back.
Fair
Did
enough.
layaway one time.
you get
Didn't
no
make
money
your
back
payments.
either.
Didn't get your
Yeah,
bed.
you're
huh?
just fucked. You don't get the bed, and you don't get your 70 back if you don't keep making the payments on that layaway. So, just saying, it's not as great as it sounds.
Sounds
Good
pretty shitty.
incentive to pay it off. Then They're
Yeah,
like,
because
we're keeping
that's how
this,
layaway works. We're like,
this
hey,
money.
whatever you,
so.
if you don't show up with the rest of that bucks, those bucks, you're done. So
Man, credit cards are way
it's just
better.
funny
You can just
because nobody
buy the
fucking
thing.
does layaway anymore, right? Yeah, you're just gonna do a credit card so you can just file for
Have
bankruptcy, not pay
Yeah,
for anything.
File for bankruptcy. Keep the thing. File for
No,
bankruptcy.
you open it and then you max it out immediately, and then you spend the rest of your life paying it off.
And that's how
Exactly
Danon
what
got
it
his computer.
That's how I got my Mac.
And
That's how I got my,
that's
my
that's-
Mac.
They
So,
got the microphone he's talking to right now. Was that microphone is going to cost him $37,000?
yeah, it's
over
on
20
layaway.
years.
Still.
On layaway. But yeah, so I mean, like basically, the crux of the movie comes to a head where essentially Sonny pulls him out of the car with like these kids who made Molotov cocktails because their shop got egged. So
Yeah,
like
right.
obviously the natural response is to go shoot at them with guns and throw
Mhm.
Molotov cocktails. And I love this. There was a moment that was like a perfect callback, which was C walked Jane home to her black neighborhood, and he starts getting harassed or whatever by some of the locals, and a guy grabs a bottle up off the street and fucking chucks it, and it lands right at his feet. And he's like, "Oh shit!" And he takes off, and C runs home because he's like, "I don't want to get my ass kicked." That same dude is in the store when the Italian kids show up and start throwing Molotov cocktails in there, and one of them rolls a cocktail in, like thinking like, "Oh, it's gonna blow up. Oh, it's gonna get him." And it's the same guy grabs
Huh,
this
noticed
bottle
that.
and fucking
I
chucks
never.
it.
I
It
definitely
just-
didn't make that connection.
Yeah.
Just fucking nails the car, hits the passenger side window with the Molotov cocktail, goes straight in, sets all the other cocktails on fire, and then all the kids fucking burn to death in the car. It's the same guy, which is like such a clever
It is, yeah.
it's such a clever little just callback. It's like, yeah, that
Oh.
guy specifically knows how to throw a fucking bottle.
Well,
This
gasoline.
guy's gonna be important later
yeah,
in the movie.
this is our
guys.
bottle guy. Okay.
This is our bottle thrower.
He's the
Mhm.
bottle boy.
He's credited as bottle guy.
Bottle
Yeah.
guy number 3.
Mm-hmm.
He just fucking crushed it, dude. And as soon as I saw him pick up the bottle, I was like, those kids are fucked, dude.
Yeah, right.
And it is amazing how quickly things just go really really bad. Like they're like shooting out the windows or whatever, being like general assholes. Then they get in their car and they're gonna drive off, and he fucking chucks that Molotov in there. And like as soon as it hits the window, and like the camera goes to the Molotovs at the other guy's feet, I was like, oh, like that's it. These kids are just dead.
Yeah, they're fucked.
Like
And they are, and they're fucked.
and they're fucked, and they all fucking die. And it's just like, damn, dude. Like, it's
They did a good job of not making you feel that bad about it though, because none of those kids are redeemable.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
you're
they're all
kind of
shit.
okay with it. Not that you want any. Not that that should be the consequence for being an asshole, right? Is to burn alive and die.
Well,
Yeah,
of
not-
course,
You
yeah.
don't feel that bad for him. You know what I mean? Like that's an
No.
that's an excessive punishment.
Like especially
for
all
being a
that.
racist asshole, but
Yeah, all that talk when he gets in the car and they're all talking about how excited they are to like do
Yeah.
this thing. They're psyching themselves up about it. You're like,
oh, I'm
Wow,
totally gonna
these
kill
kids
someone
are-
tonight. Yeah.
absolute killers. Like if they had it their way, they'd burn the whole place down, and they'd probably be happy about it. Like that's pretty bad.
Sonny before that happens, right? Sonny rescues him from it, pulls C
Yeah.
out
Yeah,
Right.
C was in the
It's-
car with them, and then
See-
Sonny comes and takes him
Yeah.
out of the car.
because he's been trying to get him to not do stupid shit this whole time. Tell him his friends are losers, all that stuff. Because all his friends again are wannabe gangsters.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember how Sonny gets killed. Who
So he
killed? Do
gets
we know who killed him, or did-
assassinated
Yeah.
in the bar, which is actually one of the more
packed-
gut wrenching parts of the movie for me because
Packed bar.
C he runs to Sonny to
Oh,
thank him
that's
for
right.
saving his life,
Right, yeah,
and he just wants to tell him how grateful he is for pulling him out of that car.
yeah.
And it's like that really got me because he walks into the bar and it's really crowded, and they make eye contact with each other, and you see Sonny's face and he's really happy.
Yeah, that's
And he's
right.
got this huge smile on his face, like, oh my gosh, that's my boy, that's my kid. Like
Yeah.
he came back, he's
Come on over here.
he come on over here, like he's so happy to see him. And it's just at that moment when you start realizing, like, oh shoot, he's gonna get shot right now.
Yeah, and it's the kid of the guy that Sonny shot at the
Mhm.
beginning of the film. They show the funeral. It's
Oh,
really
that's
funny.
right.
Yeah, because he
That's right.
he
Yeah,
did
yeah.
kill a local.
Yeah.
In fucking broad daylight, and the kid, 7 years later, or yeah, I think about 7 years later,
Yeah.
fucking goes into the bar and shoots Sonny in the head and kills him. And it's like, that's exactly what Lorenzo was saying. He's like, I don't got anybody. I don't need to look behind my back ever. Like,
Yeah.
like I live an honest life. I got nothing to worry about. Like, you fucking live a life like me. Like, you're gonna be happy your whole life. But if you live a life like Sonny, you're gonna be always fucking. You don't trust nobody. And
Yeah.
and there you go. He fucking, let his guard down. He got shot in the fucking head. Like, Jesus.
And that's when he learns at the funeral that nobody loved Sonny. They just feared him.
Mhm.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
You kind of see that logical conclusion to, like, is it better to be feared or loved? Well, it's like that,
What's
you got your answer a little bit.
What's really interesting about this movie and the actor that played Calodro is that kid ended up going to prison. I don't know the full
Whoa.
details. Yeah, there's a documentary about it, and he lived a life of crime. I think it was somebody got killed during a robbery or something he was involved with.
Oh,
So
this
he
kid was
went
Wow.
that
this kid
direction,
was
and he went bald, and we all know how we feel about bald people. They're not good. But yeah, I don't remember the full details, but there's a documentary
that's
about it.
crazy.
Yeah, the kid went bad.
I heard that he really didn't do anything after this movie,
Yeah.
and that makes sense.
He
Yeah.
was in Sopranos,
some-
actually.
Sopranos, yeah.
It's
Oh, he
actually
was.
really, really sad. He started using drugs and alcohol after his introduction into show business in 1992 and became addicted to cocaine and heroin by his mid-20s.
Jesus.
Mm.
Yeah. He was he was involved in a robbery in 2005.
Yeah.
Jesus. And in the murder of a police officer.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know the full details, but yeah, that's
Jeez.
so he spent some time in prison for that, if I remember correctly.
Good
That
Lord.
blows my mind that you would. It blows my mind that you can do such a huge movie with people like Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci's in the movie, and it's a big, big Hollywood movie, and still find yourself getting booked and being involved in a robbery and a police officer.
Mhm.
Like that blows my mind.
Well, I think that too. It's like that was the best thing he was ever going to do, probably, right? And when you're in the middle of that, you're on top of the world, right?
Yeah.
You go to the premiere, and then the movie, and then it all goes away. and
Sure.
everybody forgets about you, and you don't get any more roles because all you can play is an Italian teenager, right?
Yeah.
And you don't get any roles after that, even though you were just in, like you said, a big movie.
It's
you
a
know?
huge movie. You think this dude would have never. I can't imagine a world where he ever needed to be involved in an armed robbery ending in a police officer getting shot.
Yeah.
But I guess you're right, man. It's like
It's just like that one movie with the porn stars, you know,
Spring
oh,
Breakers?
Boogie Nights.
Boogie
Oh,
Nights.
Boogie
Yeah,
Nights.
it's just like, remember, they were all addicted to cocaine. They all had money, but they all got addicted to cocaine,
Okay.
and then
Right.
next thing you know, they're robbing Yuri, and he's shooting at
Great.
them with big guns. And,
Just I'm like, aren't you Cal Drogo or something?
Aren't you
I
Doc Ock?
seen you. I seen
It's
you
so
in
weird
something.
to see Doc Ock in his underwear in a robe,
Mhm.
shooting shotguns and doing drug deals. So weird, and singing "Motor Red." But, yes. So yeah, Bronx Tale, I really love this movie. I think it's fantastic.
It was
I've
good,
seen it
man.
many times. Saw it when it originally came out in the '90s, and it's just a great movie.
Yeah.
Has a lot of important questions. I think it's perfectly acted. I think it's perfectly cast. I think everything's great about it. It's perfectly paced. It's just a great film.
it
Teaches
is
a
a
really
solid movie. Yeah.
good lesson. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
great
man.
it's a great New York film. It's on par, I think, with Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee. Like, I think there
I
are
had made that comparison, but that I could see that. Yeah.
I mean, I think that there's just fundamentally like a thing to say about growing up in these neighborhoods and what it's like to be a part of them. And I think both of them have pretty solid takeaways,
Mhm.
from very similar circumstances, even though they are two completely different communities. If the communal aspects of them feel very similar, which I think just
In
kind of
different
speaks
time periods.
in different time periods. I think it just speaks volumes about how, like, even though this is just a Bronx Tale, that's what he says at the very end. It's just a Bronx Tale, just another Bronx Tale. I mean, I think it's an additional layer for me of thinking about, like, like this movie is explicitly about the Italian kids getting into a fight with the black kids, but then Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing is the black kids going through a very similar thing growing up. So like the differences seem very muted or even non-existent, even though, if you ask fucking insane Mario his opinion, he'd be like, "Oh, we're nothing like them. We're nothing like them. I'm gonna go throw a Molotov at them because fuck them. They're
Oh,
nothing like me."
Mario.
Fucking Mario. But yeah, I mean,
What
that
a
stands
jerk.
out to me, is that, like, this could easily have been a tale from what's this, Weberville or whatever the street is that Jane lived on.
I haven't seen that one in a while.
Well, Jane was
never
the
seen-
girl that he was pursuing, but
I've never seen.
Oh,
I think.
right.
I don't even know.
whatever street she lived on, I bet, like, there's a group of kids that went through something very similar as C did,
Mhm.
which, I don't think the movie was necessarily trying to tell us that specifically, but like at a higher level of just films from New York about tight knit communities, it seems like it's a very, very consistent through line.
Yeah.
Ratings?
Sure. Yeah, I don't have much else to talk about this movie with. I'll go first. I didn't talk too much this episode, but this is kind of one of those movies that
You're eating wings.
I was eating wings. Yeah. So, I think this movie, it hit a lot of similar feelings that a lot of coming of age films that are centered around the mob kind of did, or even movies like I mentioned earlier, like Sandlot. I don't know what it was, but something about this movie that had a very similar feel. Probably the soundtrack, and then also the fact that it was set during the 1960s.
I never thought of it, but I can see that too. It did have a Sandlot kind of feel about it.
There's
Strangely
a
enough.
lot of Sandlot to it. It's
Some of the, even though they didn't focus on the camaraderie between the young, like the teenage friends as much, I can see the similarity for sure.
Again, it might just be the soundtrack and the time setting, but I think there's a lot of interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a movie that was set during like a coming of age that was set during like I don't know, like in the middle of like a mob kind of setting, you know, because there's a bunch of interesting points that he talks about, like all these kids that he's friends with just want to get into the mob. That's all they want to do. And so they would hang outside of this bar where the mob, they own it and they frequent it. They just hang out and they don't want to leave because, you know, if you left just hanging out doing nothing, you would probably miss something, you know, and that's like all these kids did. That's all they look forward to is to sit out on the street and just bullshit the entire time. But then there's also a lot of interesting things that happen too, like for one, the gun sale I thought was really interesting. That was a really cool insight into what Sonny thought about guns. In that entire dialogue there. I don't know. I really liked it. I wasn't really expecting this movie. And also Robert De Niro is fantastic in it. And he wasn't like a huge player in it. Like he was a pretty big part, but he wasn't a huge player. There is one scene.
Yeah. And he's not a mobster.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't
Yeah, he's
play
the
a mobster
opposite,
in this
which I thought
movie.
was interesting.
It's nice.
There's one scene that really, really stuck out to me. It's that scene where they go watch the boxing match, you know, and Sonny invites C, but he's like, no, I'm going to go with my dad, you know, I'm going to go do this thing. And the entire time that Sonny is there with his dad, up in the very, you know, the far back row where the only place they could afford seats, and he keeps looking down at Sonny where Sonny is in the nosebleeds and stuff like that. And his dad's like, you know, go with them. Obviously, you want to be with them more than you want to be with me. It's fine. It's okay. You know, you don't have to sit here with me. You'll go be with your friends. And Sonny's like, no, I don't want to go with them. And, you know, I came here with you, like that kind of thing. But it's very obvious that he wants to go and sit in the front with Sonny because that's the cool thing to do. And that moment stuck out to me a lot because I'm just like, man, dude, like, you're there with your dad. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. It was a very frustrating thing, but I also understood that part where you're a young kid and all you want to do is go hang out with the cool people.
A flashy guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got all the
Yeah.
money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You know, in the front row.
That scene stuck out to me too, because you know you kind of feel for Lorenzo in that moment. You're like, hey man, like don't disrespect your dad. Like he, you know, because you're also thinking. He even mentioned he's like, this is what I could get. This is what I could afford.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
man, you know, like that's rough.
Well, even Sonny sends one of his dudes, you know, to invite him, and he says, "No, it's like we're fine. We're fine up here. You know, I bought these seats or whatever it says."
And then I really respected that C was like, no, I'm good. I'm good up here with him. And this is a beautiful part of the movie in general, which I think maybe gets missed in a lot of romanticized older movies about like a more hyper masculine era. But like, there are multiple points in this movie where he has where C and Lorenzo have very tender interactions with each other that are very like emotionally straightforward. You know, like it starts with Lorenzo hitting Sonny when he's a kid, and then like immediately after he's like, I'm sorry I hit you. Like I love you. You know I love you. Like I'm sorry. Like it's just I want the best for you. And like very tender moment that I think a lot of people might. And then later on in this particular scene, where Lorenz is like, "How do you think this makes me feel, man? Like I fucking take you to the ring and you looking down there, like
exactly.
How do you think like how do you think you're making me feel?" And then C says, "Look, Dad, I'm sorry if I hurt you." Like, and again, like that's not a fucking hype, cool thing to say, or like, you know, that it's not a mobster thing to say. It's like the legitimately like emotional, real, kind of earnest, I guess, expression from son to father. And it's like I really appreciate that about this film, even though it is a period piece and even though it's romanticized about it, there's very clearly a willingness to express love towards each other, even though it's a predominantly male film, which I think can be missed often. I mean, very, very, very well done from that respect.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it just stuck out to me a lot because obviously my dad's sitting on the podcast right here, You know,
And I
I
was in the
fucking hate
mob.
his guts. Can't
Yeah,
even stand looking
yeah.
at him.
and you
I was
know,
in
he
the
was
mob, so.
yeah, he was in the mob and a bus driver. So
And a bus driver.
yeah,
I
make
was a
what you
bus driver
will.
for the mob.
Yeah,
Oh.
make what you will
Well,
of that.
Lorenzo
you know?
was almost in the mob and a bus driver.
Yeah, right.
Actually.
True. He
That's
did
true.
get offered money. So
Yeah.
$150 a week.
that's it. That's a lot of
Can
money.
we
in the
really turn
60s.
that down? Well, you want me to
Mhm.
turn it down? You want me to be working for the mob? What are you trying to say?
Hey, well, mob, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
What was her name? Marie or something?
Nah, it's
Sure
something like
was.
that.
Marie,
Yeah,
come on.
Italian wife
Italians.
in the credits. But yeah, no, it was just those moments where like they stood out to me because like I don't know, I didn't have that relationship with my dad really, you know, and so it was just like, oh yeah, I guess there's that other side of it. So I don't know, there was a very interesting movie to watch this relationship between a younger kid and two father figures. Like it's actually very surprisingly powerful, and I didn't expect it.
Two
So,
very different father figures.
Very
Right?
different
very
father.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Different angles.
very different.
Yet they both love him and they both want the best for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Even though
exactly.
one's a
Mhm.
criminal and one's a bus driver. That's one
Yeah.
of the great things about this film.
But the best thing about that is they had the same goal. Is
Yeah.
Lorenzo didn't want his son to be just a bus driver. He wanted him to go to school and be smart and use his brain.
Yeah.
And same thing with Sonny. He didn't want him to go to into the mob and make money that way. He wanted him to go to school and be smart and use his brain. So it's very interesting that these two father figures coming from very different sides, you know, of the same street, wanted the same thing for this kid. And it's, I don't know, it was like the story and the conflict in it was very, very unique. And so I'd give this movie maybe an 8.5. There's just maybe a couple things. It was maybe a little bit too long in some ways. I feel like maybe a couple of the plot points were a little bit hashed on. I did like everything else except for maybe the rivalry with the Black Street, you know, and the kind of those gangs there. Whereas as it's important to the time, I don't think it's important to the plot all that much, other than to get his friends killed. But other than that, I think the main tug on your heartstrings really is the relationship with this kid and these two father figures, you know, who are vying,
For sure. Yeah.
you know, for the same outcome for this guy. So I don't know. Yeah, 8.5. That's my rating out of 10. So
Yeah, I guess I'll give mine. I thought this was a really sweet movie. There were definitely some moments that I thought probably did drag on a little too long. There was also, I think they did a very smart thing with limiting the amount of interaction that C and Jane had, just because they were very clearly the weakest actors in the film.
Yeah.
And I think if they
Yeah.
tried to spend too much time on that, they probably would have spoiled some of the scenes that were very clearly carried by the guy that was playing Sonny, Robert De Niro.
I wonder if
and-
that's
and
why I
other
didn't
scenes.
like those scenes as much, because they edited them down and cut them down. But
I think that they were doing a service to the film overall, though, because it was clear that the acting chops just weren't quite there with them. Which, I mean, props to a movie in the '90s using clearly like 17-year-olds to play 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
But the challenge, of
Yeah.
course, is that they don't have quite as much experience, and so they can't sell their scenes as well. And I mean, there was some interactions between those two where it was just like, this is clearly just
It felt
awkward.
pretty painfully, especially when you got De Niro in a film and you got Chaz Palminteri in a film. I mean, come
Yeah.
on, it's hard to.
Yeah.
Those guys are
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
The introduction scene where they're kind of just like, "Oh, what's your name?" And he's, it's like, "Oh, that's a long name."
Yeah.
Or some
Yeah.
crap like
yeah,
that.
that's a weird name you got.
Yeah.
Just very flat delivery. I mean, again,
Yeah.
they're kids. You can tell that they literally are 17-year-olds, which is like a testament to, not a testament, but just like a good thing about the film in one aspect, but also a bad thing about the portrayal in another aspect, because it's like clearly they're going to be weaker performances. But I think the way that they did them was good, because you don't spend too much time with them. You identify it as maybe just being awkward teenage love, and like that's easy enough to be like, well, they're awkward teenagers. They're going to sound like awkward teenagers.
Well, there's that scene on the bus where they meet each other, and it's like 5 minutes long of them just going like,
Oh yeah.
There was a little too many cuts back and forth between the two of them.
It was the movie treated
yeah.
the subplot as the subplot as what am I saying? I just had a stroke. They treated it like they treated it like the subplot that it was. That's what I'm trying to say here. They didn't spend too much time on it because that's what it was a subplot, and it was just it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't super important for the story.
I will
It
say
was-
that
it was
the flaw
in
with
there
that is that it could be its own plot. It could very easily be the plot of the entire movie.
It
Which
probably
is
would have
why-
been.
It
if
could
they
have been
had
very
some
If
other-
you
important.
wanted to make it more of like a West Side Story kind of thing,
Yeah.
because really, if you think about West Side Story, that is kind of like the direct. Like if they wanted to focus more on the relationship, it's like Maria or whoever. It's like where the Italians and the Puerto Ricans.
Just
there's
a
This
West
is-
Sad girl.
Right.
This is
living
if
in-
they
Romeo
wanted to
and
focus
Juliet.
more on that, it could have been a West Side Story sort of
Yeah,
thing.
it's Romeo and Juliet. That's not an easy story just to make a subplot, And so
Yeah.
that's maybe why I didn't like that entire thing so much, is because it could have been an entire movie. It could have been the Romeo and Juliet story retold.
Yeah, and it
but
makes
it
me
was
wonder
very,
whether they
very
intended for this movie to be primarily a duel between the fathers movie. when
It,
they were
it
filming
was.
it.
That's why, like I,
think
said, they,
so.
It's very
luckily
Shakespearean.
they didn't spend much time on this because
I
it
think
was
so, yeah.
just
Yeah,
it was a small subplot. It was there to progress certain parts of the story.
yeah.
Right?
Exactly,
So
and
there's
I
conflict
think
between the friends and stuff, but that was about it. And I'm glad they didn't spend any more. But the problem is those parts of the film feel less good compared to the other ones and kind of drag.
Sure.
Yeah, because
Even though I think films need that. You need parts in a movie where it rests, if you will.
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lets
And
you
so-
digest what's going on.
So
it's okay.
I mean, the film is probably a little too long in my taste, but like even still, I think it's for a movie that is about the Bronx in the '60s and specifically about the mob and a guy getting shot in broad daylight, kicking everything off. It was an incredibly sweet, wholesome, heartwarming tale.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is just not what you would expect from a movie like this.
You expected
So-
a gangster movie.
That's
know?
what I
It's
thought.
Robert De
King Kong.
Niro's directorial debut too. Like that's crazy. He didn't make you. You would have thought he would have made a gangster movie.
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't
really
he
make a
didn't-
gangster
He
movie.
didn't mimic Scorsese at all. You know?
Yeah.
No, it's a
So,
it's a
totally good
warm
stuff.
it is a warm and fuzzy movie all the way through. I mean, like legitimate, like there, like obviously there's some low moments, like his friends all burning to death or whatever. But honestly, like
It's pretty low.
it's a heartwarming movie in spite of the kind of terrifying backdrop that it has, and it's a nice movie. This is a movie that I would watch on a rainy day if I was
I did
feeling
watch it on a
down.
rainy day.
It was raining.
It was raining.
There you go. I mean, I would literally like this is a great movie for lifting your spirits, honestly. So I would give it probably 8 out of 10 for me. I mean, I would recommend this to people in certain contexts. I think it's a very solid film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Context.
Well, I'm not gonna just be
In
like,
the
dude, I
Bronx.
saw this movie the other day, A Bronx
Dude,
Tale.
it's
You
really
gotta
good.
watch
Yeah.
it. No, if we're
I
talking
know you've
about
never been to the
gangster
Bronx,
movies,
so this isn't the right
Yeah.
context. But
I know you didn't grow up in the 1960s, and you probably don't remember it.
Listen, the '60s, probably never been there. I know, me neither. Right? Not the right. I'm just fucking with you. I give it an 8. I loved it.
Yeah.
You're right. There's a couple of things. It's not perfect, right? There's no such thing as a perfect film, but there's a couple of things that
I
take
mean,
it
have
down
you
a couple of
seen
notches.
Alien versus Predator?
That is a perfect film. You're right. You're right. You're right. Have you
When
seen
you're
Why
right,
that
you're right.
movie? Why would you go with
The
that?
Toxic Avenger? Have you seen The Toxic Avenger? That's a
Oh,
perfect film.
That's not a perfect film.
That's a
man.
perfect
10 out of
film.
10.
That is a 10 out of 10 room scale.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
that is a terrible movie.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I did. I give it an 8. That's all I got to say. And I loved it. You guys have said enough. Love it for all the reasons we're talking about. So
Yeah.
All right, Jeremy.
Yeah, I think I'd honestly have to give it the same. It's funny. This movie actually I've heard a lot about, and I've seen it played a lot in the background at family events. Funny enough,
Interesting.
I can think of at least 2 different Thanksgivings where this movie has been playing in the background on
let's watch
TV.
something Italian.
We always
Jeremy.
watch Italian. We're Italian family, and it's so dumb that we actually put on like we actually do put on Italian movies on holidays.
I don't know. We always watch white trash stuff at my house.
Hey,
you know,
Monty
it's-
Python
it's-
is not white trash, okay?
We always
Um,
watch movies about people's living trailers. and stuff.
we do love Karate Kid, which centers around Daniel LaRusso.
In Italian.
It's a Italian, largely Italian hero, and we love Rocky, and we love The
Yeah,
Godfather.
you guys are Italian.
And
Oh, I
we
love
watch Rocky, Karate Kid, and The Godfather all the time for holidays, and we talk
Karate
about them
Kid.
all the time.
Karate Kid
Karate
is
Kid's a
a
great
perfect
movie.
Love
film.
it.
Karate Kid is
And
on my list of perfect films.
it's so good.
I
And
love
this
it.
is another one that has. This was on.
Don't you
This is
dare,
on
Ben.
the
Don't you dare.
background.
He likes it.
I
What
saw
are
you
talking
go.
about?
I like.
I
I
saw you.
did not.
He
I
agreed
like
with
Karate
you. What are you
Kid.
talking about?
Okay,
He just-
good.
It's not in
Wow.
my
We're-
head.
I'm about
Oh,
to
okay.
I mean, it's clear,
virtually.
the blonde kid is
have
clearly the good
fists.
guy.
A virtual fisticuffs.
The kid's fine.
Ralph,
The blonde kid,
listen.
that's the noise he makes.
Ralph Macchio is a fucker, and he ruined that blonde kid's chances at the
Ralph
Oh my
Macchio.
gosh,
or whatever. But
Daryl, you don't like Cobra Kai though, is that right?
I loved Cobra Kai.
Oh,
I
okay.
Daryl loves
loved
Cobra Kai.
So, okay,
I can't
I
stop
don't know who
talking
I
about
was
it.
talking to
Love
who
it.
didn't like Cobra Kai,
Dude,
but like
I couldn't wait. I didn't want it to end. I loved everything about Cobra Kai. It's
okay, okay.
it's kind of cheesy. It's kind of TV, but I don't care. It's so
it's so
awesome,
good.
dude. Anytime Daniel LaRusso and Johnny were on screen, I got excited. And
I know it's so good.
It's like it was, and then when Ali, spoiler alert for me, when Ali shows up, come on, dude. I mean, I was in fucking heaven. I was in
Yeah.
fucking Karate Kid heaven because I love.
And when you
that
see
movie,
Kreese again, that was pretty exciting to see
Right.
John Kreese again.
you know.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, this is a movie that's kind of on in the background a lot that I'd never really paid attention to.
Really?
Yeah, it's not one that we like sat around and watched. It was just in the background. I always thought it was another gangster movie, like another mobster movie.
Which it is,
And which it kind of is,
but
you
it's
know,
not
and
Godfather gangster. Yeah.
no, not at all. And I was expecting something along the lines of a Goodfellas. Not at all. And it had way more heart than that. It was really
Yeah.
good. But not what I was expecting. It was a pleasant surprise, and I would definitely watch it again next rainy day,
What's your rating?
or maybe 2 rainy days from now. You
Yeah.
know, it can't be
He's-
the only
I think,
rainy
he-
day.
I think he's
movie.
gonna give it an 8.
Give it some. Get some.
Yeah,
rating.
yeah,
give it
yeah.
an 8.
It's an 8.
Okay, so
solid
8's
8.
all around. Wow.
Mhm.
Interesting.
It's all
And,
around.
and Jeremy's the only Italian on the squad right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So.
Mm-hmm.
gotta have that representation, man. It's important.
Yeah, we gotta have that.
Apparently.
representation.
Gotta have that Italian representation.
They say that representation is really important. So you know what? I'll take that. That's mine.
Here we go. That's your card.
There it is.
I got
You
the
can
Italian
You
sandals.
can
but
relate
Yeah.
real hard
Yeah.
to the kid that grew up in the Bronx.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll take the only quarter Mexican.
Yeah, Dana's got the quarterback.
Yeah, I got the quarter Mexican. Not Mexicans. I want the other people who are also quarter Mexican to
Yeah,
feel represented.
represented.
Is
Yeah.
there
Right,
any
right.
any movies with sweater wearing white guys that we can?
more than you know.
There's a lot.
Although you know, I did
I
watch
think of all of
Goodfellas
them.
again for the first
Yeah.
time recently, and I didn't realize that the main character is actually half Italian. So I feel like
Yeah.
it's even more representative.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
half
I thought you were
Italian,
about to be
half
like.
Irish.
I thought you were about to
Yeah.
cancel Goodfellas. Like I can't believe he's fucking half
No,
Italian.
man.
I
No,
told my
no,
mom
it's
you're
just
half
it makes
Jewish.
it more personal to me because I am half Italian too.
But
so-
Karen tells her mom that he's half Jewish. Hide,
Right,
hide
she
that
lies
crucifix.
it, yeah.
I told your mom, my mom, you're half Jewish. I love that fucking movie too,
That's a great one.
but
yeah.
for different reasons. But I love that movie. And I didn't become I didn't become a lover of mob movies until God my early 30s. I just didn't care
Dude,
about
mob
them.
movies are slow.
They
so
are, and
slow.
I that's what I love about the Godfather films.
Mhm.
I could watch
Yeah, the best ones are the slow.
Godfather 2 over
Godfather.
and over, and I watched Godfather 2 so many goddamn times. Oh yeah, right there.
Yeah.
I
and that's
love.
West Side Story.
Oh,
Nice.
look at that.
Nice.
Maria.
And that's a hat. Do you have tapes back there? What is that? Is that tapes?
These are all DVDs.
Oh, DVDs. Okay.
That's
I
a
thought they were like
huge
cassette
bookshelf of DVDs and some Blu-rays. I don't know. I'm not gonna rebuy everything that I have on DVD on Blu-ray. It's just not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
tapes. It's funny.
So-
As old as I am, as much as I love tangible things, I'm just gonna be so happy when everything is just digital and I don't have to pull out a CD anymore.
Dude,
DVD.
When
Mhm.
was the last
I
time
just
you
don't wanna
watched
deal with
something on Blu-ray?
Long time.
Watch
Ah.
something on Blu-ray if you have the chance.
What did I watch on
Blu-ray still
Blu-ray
looks
recently?
fucking incredible, and it's
Well, they
1080p.
look better than anything that's been squeezed through the pipeline. Let's
Dude,
get real
it's
here.
ins. I
Mhm.
watched Mad Max on Blu-ray when I had my PS4. Oh my god, having
Yeah,
physical
on
media
the
it
PS4.
looks fucking incredible, dude. It's
does
sharp
look
as
good.
hell. It's
If you're watching it
incredible.
for that, then yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's-
If you're just watching it
I mean,
because
I'm
you want
not-
to consume some media,
I
that's
watched
Yeah,
half
that's
of.
true.
I mean, I watched half this movie on my iPad eating ramen, and I felt
Nice.
like it was pretty fucking solid. But
But you're also watching.
The
Yeah,
only
you
reason
know,
I bust
1993.
these out ever now is when I have a hankering to watch something specific, and I've already looked it up, and it's not on a streaming service.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Oh,
And
fair enough.
That's a good way to do
that's
it,
the
yeah.
only time that this actually saves me, because then I'm like, oh, I probably have it on DVD, and chances are I do.
Well, my
So
my
it actually
favorite
works.
cut of Blade Runner is the director's cut, which came out in '92, and then there's the final cut though, which I watched the other day for the millionth time. And director's cut and final cut are almost identical. There's only a couple of changes, but I still love. Blade Runner is always going to be my favorite film. And watching it the other day again, I realized again how much I love that film and why it's my favorite film, because it's just fucking brilliant on all levels.
Blade Runner's a good movie.
It's good.
Godfather,
like it.
Godfather 2 is number 2 for me. Just love that fucking movie. It knocked a bunch of other ones down, like Raiders of the Lost Ark and Empire Strikes Back, which are next in the line.
Those are different kinds of movies for sure.
Different kinds of
Those are
movies.
not-
Right.
For sure.
But they don't have that so what? If you love something, you love something, right?
Yeah.
It's true. If you love something, you love
That's a big
something.
part of it.
Speaking of movies that
And-
you love, sorry Ben, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say The Godfather is not any less anime just because it's good.
Thank you.
Did we lose Stingbox? What was the kid's name?
Hornet.
Hornet?
Yeah, Stingbox.
Is Stingbox still
You
on?
Did
you
we-
did not give a review.
Oh,
Liz,
Stingbox.
if you're in the
Oh,
comments, if
Stingbox.
you're watching live, I would love to hear your review of this. I know you've been bugging me about A Bronx Tale, so let me know if you're watching. But speaking of movies that you love, I watched Nocturnal Animals the other night,
I love that fucking movie.
and I want to know if you guys want to do that next, because I was watching that movie again. I was
I
like, oh
love
my
that
god,
movie.
there's so many things I would love to talk about for this movie.
Ever heard of
So,
it?
Dude,
it's
I
fucking-
love that movie.
Have you, Jer?
No, I'm looking
Okay.
it up right now.
It's a you prepare
Oh,
yourself.
that's
It
not
is-
true. I've heard of it, but I don't know
it's-
anything about it.
Yeah, it kind of like came and went. It's very artsy. It's made by
Yeah.
Tom Ford, who's a fashion designer, and he did A Single Man, which I've never seen, but it's also apparently a really good movie too. But Nocturnal
a good
Animals
cast.
is just it's a fucking amazing cast. Great
This-
story.
Wow, really good cast. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
let's not get too deep into this. We're gonna watch, but this movie makes my chest hurt.
It's
Hmm.
it's a very painful watch. There's a lot
It's
of
just
dark.
so deep.
It's very
Yes.
dark and it hurts.
It
But it's
makes
a
my chest
really,
hurt
really good
every
movie. Like
time.
I was watching the other night, I was like, oh, I'll throw it on because it's on Netflix right now. It's on Netflix.
What's the big deal?
Okay.
Yeah, so I
I'm
threw
just
it on
eating
and I was
some-
just like, I'll just
Yeah.
eat my dinner to this. And the next thing I was like, okay, in bed, covers up,
Doesn't sound like a
Yeah.
pillows
dinner
up.
eating kind of
No, dude.
I watched
kind of
it's-
flick.
Oh, it's
I
fucking
watched it a couple of
brutal.
months ago, and I was watching it, and because Dana and I love this film so much, I texted him and I said, "God, I watched Nocturnal. I love this movie so much. It makes my chest hurt
Yeah, it's
because my chest was hurting when I
Dang.
did.
well, especially because you're a father, so I can
Yeah.
only imagine, because.
And Michael Shannon is so fucking good in it. He's good in everything he does, but goddamn, is he good in this movie?
He's perfect.
I
in
do
it.
like
good.
Michael
Yeah.
Shannon a lot.
Love Michael Shannon.
I saw Michael Shannon. I was thinking about this the other night when I was watching that movie. I saw Michael Shannon for the first time in Boardwalk Empire, and he plays that. He plays Michael Shannon.
Yeah,
He
He's
definitely
great
gets
at that
typecast now. But he's great in Boardwalk Empire. And so no, it was just interesting watching.
First
this
thing I
movie
saw him
again
in was 8 Mile, actually,
8
Really,
Mile.
he's good in that
which he's
too.
which he's really good in.
Really?
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, he
Huh.
plays.
He
He's
plays-
dating,
The drunk dude who takes advantage of the mom in the movie.
Oh my god. Okay.
No, I
don't
guess the
remember
mom's
that
taking
one.
advantage of him. Actually,
yeah,
Oh.
I think that's a mutual taking advantage of it. not-
Yeah.
It's a
Total piece of
consensual
shit.
taking advantage.
But
of
he's
it.
but he's great in it, and I loved him as Zod. I thought he was a
yeah,
great.
and he's good. He's good at Zod.
And
Yeah.
I mean, Terrence Stamp is that's very hard to top. Terrence Stamp's General Zod, but Spider-Man 2, Superman 2 is also such a shitty film that the only thing good about Superman 2 is Terrence Stamp as General Zod, but Michael Shannon was great as Zod. I didn't
Yeah.
think you could beat
I
Stamp.
will find him.
Yeah, it was great.
That line is really, really good
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he says that.
And he wears
Yeah.
the suit well. So
And he wears that black
Uh,
suit well.
there's that one, and then I have another one after that that popped in my head when we were talking about Bronx Tale. Came out around the same time ish, but it's a movie called Sleepers, 92, I think. Kevin Bacon.
I like Kevin Bacon.
I can't. Yeah, he's great in everything he does.
I like 90s Kevin Bacon, especially.
Yeah, this is 90s Kevin Bacon.
Robert De Niro, Dustin Hoffman, Jason Patrick. Oh, Brad
Yeah,
Pitt's
Jason
in this
Patrick.
too.
Brad Pitt.
96. It came out in 96.
96. Yeah, great film. Heavy film. Great film though.
Also has a Lorenzo in it.
John Lorenzo in it.
Ah.
Yeah.
There you
So anyways,
go.
yeah, we can do Nocturnal Animals and then Sleepers. We don't. I don't know how many more bummer films we want to do though, but because this is like 2 bummer films in a row.
Is it a bummer film?
I mean,
don't
we
know.
can
It's a,
mix it
it's
up
a
with,
heavy film, but it's
okay.
a great film. Great acting, great story.
Yeah. I don't.
We
I
can mix
want
it
to
up
do.
with Tank Girl.
I hate that fucking movie. So,
I'm bummed. I
almost as
really
much
wanted to
as I hate
do.
Johnny Mnemonic. What a piece
Johnny
of shit.
Oh, dude, that movie.
Stupid ass movie. Sorry, go ahead.
Johnny
Ryan.
Mnemonic.
I wanted to do The Little Things, but it's in this weird limbo where like you just can't freaking watch it anywhere. I guess it's out in theaters now,
Mhm.
but it was. Are you familiar with this movie, Daryl?
Mm-mm.
It's
Sounds
a like psychological thriller, like mystery thriller, and it just came out recently. It's got Denzel, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto.
Oh
And,
yeah.
I saw it on HBO Max, and it came out, but it was only out for a month on HBO Max,
That's when I saw it.
and then I guess it went to theaters now. But I really liked it. It's kind of 7-ish.
Oh yeah. Say no more. I wanted to watch it. I didn't realize on Hobo Max, so I missed
it's
it.
it's in
Wait,
theaters now.
what?
It's off. It's off now. Is what
See,
you're saying? That's
Yeah, so I don't know if there's some way to find it or rent it or whatever, but
There's
I'd
a
still like to
problem
do
with
it.
this. You can't. I have a problem with this, where you release it on a home media and then you take it off of the home media for
Can't do
months at a time. You know, it's I've because Godzilla King of the Monsters is also coming to, or is it Kong versus Godzilla? Whatever.
It's
the name
Lizard
is.
versus Monkey.
Whatever
Lizard
that
versus
one is.
Monkey is
Yeah,
coming
the
to HBO
Duke
Max,
Group.
and it's going to be on there for a week or something. Then it's going to go to theaters.
Just a week.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's gonna be in theaters at the same
Just-
time.
Oh, okay.
Don't do that. Just release it in theaters. I know it's COVID, but don't do that, because now, like, you know, like,
We're open here at 25. I think it's 20. This is so even though I hate going to the theaters because of humans, but I'm thinking maybe there's a chance that it might be okay because it's 25% capacity here. I don't know what you guys are doing in Texas.
Ooh.
Yes, they're opening
So-
later this month.
Yeah, so you have to be I'm gonna go see Lizard versus Monkey, but it's 25% capacity, so they space everybody out. Now this is to keep assholes off their phones and chit chatting and face fucking and all this shit. No, probably not. But Facebook,
fucking-
Facebook,
The
Facebook.
Facebook.
What
I call it
theaters
Facebook.
are you going
This is
to?
pretty
Yeah.
much what it is. But and then
Apparently
this is
they're
my I'm gonna rage. I hate this one the most. When someone goes,
Oh, and they're trying to
You're not
cover the
fucking hard
brightness of their
enough!
screen.
"Oh my god, I'm gonna murder you!"
Yeah.
Streams of light coming through their
Mhm.
fucking fingers.
But at
I
least
thought-
it
I
cuts
changed my mind.
down
I'm not
on
going.
the
Lose my
on
mind.
the actual overall number
Yeah.
Yes.
of people in the theater, which statistically makes it less likely that you'll encounter them.
And I'm hoping that everyone's so jazzed to get out that they'll respect the fact that we've all spent $30,000 to be in this movie theater. You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
Dude,
It's not.
tickets are expensive, bro.
They are.
Although
Talking about-
I did see the Lord of the Rings remaster a few like a month or so ago,
Yeah.
and again, limited capacity. Whenever you like booked a seat, the seat to the left and right of you was also just blocked,
Oh,
so no one could
love
sit
Rings.
there, which is fantastic.
Yeah, but
So.
nobody's gonna talk during Lord of the Rings remaster. They're all a bunch of fucking nerds.
and it was
Dude, they
perfect,
all-
dude. It was
no one's gonna
perfect.
sit
They don't
through a
talk?
4-hour
Perfect. No,
movie.
Everybody
and talk.
cheered and laughed during the appropriate times. It was
That's
beautiful.
perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
When Doug and I went and saw Blade Runner in November 2019, which is the movie takes place when we actually saw it in theater, it was me, him, and a bunch of other old nerds. Same thing, quiet, respectful. It was great, man. But that's the last time movie I can think of where my blood didn't start boiling because
Mm.
it's doing fucking something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get that in Austin, man. I'm telling you. I even went to an AMC to watch that. I had to go to an
Can I-
AMC for IMAX. So
Can I just live in your walk-in closet or something so I can just
it's
have a
pretty
good
big,
movie
man.
experience?
It's like it's
that-
pretty big.
Baby
So, yeah,
right? I don't need much.
yeah.
Just
it.
slide some pizza rolls under the door.
I actually just
Some
bought
Little
pizza rolls
Smokies.
today at Target. They were $4.99.
Did
so
you
we're
buy
good
Little
to go.
Smokies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
just
I ate
roll
all my
a
Little
smoky at a
Smokies.
time underneath the door.
Ah.
Hey, also I want to point out, Little Smokies, if you cook them in water, you don't get shits. Okay, it neutralizes them
What do you mean?
because because when I would eat Little Smokies, you just rip the package open and pour them in with the wrong grease. You know, you're cooking
Yeah.
them in the wrong grease. And this would just destroy me. Like wake me up at like
Are you
2, 3 in
boiling
the
'em?
morning. No, you don't boil them. I'm not ruining these. You cook them in a pan. You get a little
But
bit
you
of a
said
crust
cook them
on
in
it.
their own water.
Yeah, you cook them
Said
in
cook
their
'em
own in their own packaged water.
Oh, packaged water.
You know, when you
their hot
open the
dog
package,
water.
yeah, you open the package and you put them in the pan. There's a little bit of that grease that spills out with it. And that taste, you know, the
But
taste
that's what I always do.
fucks you because it's 2 in the morning and you're waking up because you got
So
stomach
you're
cramps.
saying don't cook them in the grease.
Yeah,
So don't
explain.
cook 'em
Okay,
in the grease.
explain
Don't
your.
cook
how
'em
you
in
What
the
do you do
grease.
now?
Okay, so
you
how
cook
do you?
them. You cook them in a little bit of water, and so the water gets the grease going and evaporates, and then you're good to go. No more.
So you
shits.
do boil them.
No, you don't boil them.
You're
You
boiling
put them in a
them.
tiny
You just
bit
put
of
the water in the
It-
pan?
Yeah, you put them in a pan. You put a little bit of water in the pan, and you cook them.
White trash cuisine.
See, this is
Right
what I was
here.
talking
Just
about.
like-
You know, when I was
Heard it.
I
So
was
you
joking the
put
other
a bunch
night.
of little hot dogs in a pan with
They're
some
not little
water.
hot dogs. How
Sausages.
dare you?
Yeah.
They are cocktail sausages. You fuck. Okay, don't you dare, Jeremy.
Fucking heathen! How dare you?
Cook some hot dogs in some water in a pan.
You're the one that's doing this weird shit. Don't fucking look at us
This
like
is
we're the
weird.
ones that are
This
in the
is
wrong.
so
here.
weird.
No, this is serious, guys.
Yeah,
Don't.
this is serious.
You're
Okay,
taking
this-
this seriously.
This
when
allows
I-
me to eat Little Smokies again.
Well, like when I eat hot dogs, which I do quite a bit,
Disgusting.
I must boil them.
No.
They have to be boiled.
No.
How dare you?
I do boil hot dogs.
You have to boil 'em.
No.
What? Don't
You have
to
boil hot dogs.
infuse-
Grill
Disgusting.
You
hot
have to
No,
dogs.
you
infuse
grill
the dead
them.
pig flesh with moisture
No.
from heated water surrounding it in a
You
pot.
no.
I
you
was
grill hot
taught to boil
Grill?
hot dogs. Yeah, but
Yes,
but,
thank you.
But
you.
that's only if I'm eating them in a bun or whatever.
Yes,
But
a
what I
bun-
do use hot dogs for, not since I started keto, but over the course of the pandemic, I was quite fond of doing a little mac and cheese, little Kraft mac and cheese, and you
Yeah,
get
that's
2 hot
fine. Yeah,
dogs,
and you cut
slice
hot
it down
dogs
the
up.
middle, pan fry, crisp
Ooh.
it up, slice it, throw it,
Oh.
intermix it in with your,
That's
Yeah,
Rock
there's
mac and
nothing
cheese.
wrong with
Yeah.
putting hot dogs in mac
and a little bit of
cheese.
sriracha on there.
that's rock and roll dinner
Uh,
right there.
What
Oh,
is
yeah.
wong though is boiling hot dogs. You
Boiling
fucking-
No,
hot dogs
gotta
is
boil 'em.
not.
Gotta
no,
boil 'em.
grill
that is a
hot dogs. Okay,
hate
you don't
crime.
I
pan
don't know
fry
why,
hot dogs.
but boiling them if
grill.
I'm gonna eat them in a bun or whatever doesn't
Yeah.
bother me.
If you're gonna bun them,
You
you,
could
gotta boil
fucking
them.
microwave them,
rule.
and eat them in a bun. I mean, like
I would
it's-
rather.
No,
I would
no,
rather
no. Microwave's
microwave
worse.
them. No, I'd rather.
I think microwave's
them.
worse. I'd
No.
rather
It's the
boil.
same.
Microwave
It's equivalent. They're both
turns
bad.
the skin into burnt rubber, and then the inside.
How long are you
splits
microwaving them
open.
for? It takes less than
Couple
30 seconds to
years.
microwave a fucking hot dog, bro.
Oh, you got your way. I got mine. Not all my buttons work, so I
He's
just hit 5 and hope that
I microwave it till it explodes on both ends, becomes a two-way fleshlight. Then
Yeah,
it's fucking
You
perfect time.
scrape that off. Create a spread that you're spreading onto your hot
But
dog.
hold on.
buns.
There's only one hot dog that it should ever be eaten anyways, and or boiled, and that's cheese-filled hot dogs by Oscar Mayer.
No,
You
cheese
can't-
filled yes, but
you
not
cannot-
by Oscar Mayer.
No, by Oscar Mayer, absolutely, because they have sodium nitrite in them, and that's what makes them that beautiful salty flavor. But if you poke a
Mm.
bunch of holes and throw it in the microwave, you open it up, and all this cheese is gone everywhere, and it gets hard in the edge. You just can't microwave it. It must be dropped into boiling water.
No.
Right?
So you cook that melty cheese from the inside.
Yes, and then
That's
you're
good. That's good.
using
I'm gonna use
the
that.
the dead pig flesh with moisture from the boiled water. Ben, stop looking at me like that. It's just how it's done.
Listen,
You gotta,
I'm a
you
Hebrew
gotta
national
upgrade.
guy. I like the kosher dog.
Really?
No, you
yeah,
gotta-
I like
not me.
ballpark. I like ballpark friends.
Upgrade to bratwurst, please God. Okay. You
No,
get the
no, that's all
jalapeno
great too.
cheddar.
Bratwurst is probably fine.
Mm.
You know what's really
Not as
good?
cheap.
Here, I'll give you
It's true.
something that's even better. You grill a hot dog, you cook a tortilla on the open flame on the stove. Yeah, you do the
Tortilla
like
and
10
hot
seconds.
dog.
Yeah, you
Mm.
you do 10 seconds on one side, 10 seconds on the other side. You get yourself some mustard, line of mustard, hot dog, roll it up like a taquito, eat that. That, my friends, is white trash snack. And
I
it's
don't
pretty
see that
fucking
ever
delicious.
happening.
Nah,
It's
I'm
really
good.
good.
I
I
don't
would
know
eat a
about the
spaghetti
marriage.
burrito
I don't
before I
know
do
about
that.
the unholy matrimony of tortilla and hot dog.
Yeah.
It's really
And
good,
mustard.
dude. It's pretty fucking
not
good.
Mustard
Okay,
and hot
first of all,
dog.
mustard and hot
That
dog
makes
is fine.
sense.
No,
a
that's
tortilla
fine.
is basically just a hot dog bun, but
No,
thinner.
no, it's not.
No,
It's
no,
different. Tastes
no.
completely
I
Wait,
different.
hear
we
what you're
talking about
saying,
The
Flour or
texture.
corn?
but I
Yeah.
don't
Flour. Definitely
Either
flour.
way, no.
know if I like it.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll make you some of that shit. See, at least that's
You know what's a really good white trash breakfast is white bread, butter,
Good start.
yep, and then sugar and cinnamon.
Dude, it's the best.
Oh,
That's
Oh,
so
I do
good,
that. Now I
dude.
do
I've
that with
had that
tortillas.
That's
There's
also
so much
that's
sugar.
also
Do that with
yeah.
some flour tortillas.
That's
Flour
And
really
there's
good.
so much
Yeah.
sugar that it crunches
Oh,
and it gets up
Yes.
inside your cavities and makes your teeth. It's just
It makes your
that's
teeth
when you know
hurt.
you're there, dude.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. What you
Okay.
do
That's
is
heaven.
actually you ball the bread up, like you just crush it into a ball,
You
and
lost
then you
me.
fucking do the butter and shit, and it just becomes a little donut hole.
Oh, you know what would be good is if you
Little
like
white trash donut
use
hole.
like melted butter. If you did that, Ben, and then you like crush it up in a bowl and then put it into melted butter and then
Yeah,
fried
yeah,
it.
yeah,
And
exactly.
pan fry it.
Oh, I
That's
know
like
what
a
I'm
real
doing
white
tomorrow.
trash donut.
No, I mean
And
that's what
fried
I'm
white
saying,
trash
yeah,
donut.
it's
Yeah.
like-
Well, aren't donuts already by nature white trash?
No.
Yeah, but donuts cost money. White bread
Oh,
with
good point.
cinnamon and sugar doesn't cost money.
That's right. You
that
can
just
find
costs
that everywhere.
dignity. And
That's
I have
the big
plenty
It
of
difference
just
there.
costs dignity, and we don't have
Mhm.
any of that here.
Donuts are
plenty
stupidly
to spare.
expensive for just being little balls of dough.
That's
Hey.
That's
true.
all they are.
Except for
Talk about my
crullers.
belly.
Crullers are an art form.
I don't know what curlers
Crullers
are. What?
Crullers are gross.
Crullers are the egg white donuts that are
Yeah,
star
they're
shaped.
okay. They're okay. I like
What
old
the heck?
fashions.
Star-shaped donuts?
Yeah,
they look
you
like
know,
little.
that.
They look
They
like
have,
anuses.
Yeah, they look like ass folds.
Yeah.
I
It
don't
looks
know
like
these.
a wagon wheel.
You never ate an
Oh.
old sphincter?
Well, I am on the keto diet.
An old sphincter. Like this going across the street. Hey, get that thing over here.
Get that thing out!
The old sphincter. You're not using it no
Oh.
more. Anyways, so an 8
yep.
for the film?
8.
Yeah.
For the
8 for the
movie.
film across the board. 8 for the film. 8 for a Bronx
Right.
Tale.
We're doing Nocturnal Animals. next
Nocturnal
week.
Animals
Yes.
next.
Right.
We'll see
Nocturnal
how we
Missions.
feel after that dark movie because it's
Yeah, we might have
it's
to
pretty
lighten
rough.
it up.
But
before we go into
watching
sleepers.
that movie, there's a lot of things that I was like, oh my god, I really want to talk about this. I really like a lot of what happens in that movie. There's
Yes.
a lot of good imagery we can get into. There's a lot of good stuff. Very
Beautifully
small
shot,
things that
yeah.
are that aren't explained outright that you can pick up on the movie. Especially like
You
this
don't
is
need it to
probably
be.
like only my third time watching it. I say only. I watch a lot of my
Yeah.
favorite movies a lot. But only my third time watching that, and I'm picking up on stuff that I did not notice the first couple times because I'm like hypercritical now. But no, it's great. It's on Netflix. We'll do it next
Okay.
next week, next Tuesday at 7:30.
Nice.
So we'll go ahead and end this pig. Excuse me. So this is the We Like This podcast, and we did A Bronx Tale. You can follow us down below on our Discord. There's a link there. And then you can stay up to date with all the new movies that we do, anything like that. And then you
You
can
don't
also
have to bookend it with the name of the movie that we just spent 2 hours talking about.
We did a Bronx Tale.
yeah, we did A Bronx Tale.
Just,
You don't need to bookend it? Why
It's
not?
just you know
just
just
throwing that
sandwich
out
it.
there.
Just
No one's gonna skip to the last fucking 30 seconds of the podcast and be like, I wonder what they watched.
Bronx Tale at the beginning, Bronx Tale at the end, Bronx Tale all the way through. You smush it in a nice little.
Yeah.
nice
You know,
little Bronx
some
Tale
things you
sandwich.
just don't
So,
change.
yeah.
All right, fine.
This is a
Fucking-
formula that I've created myself.
hot dog
okay?
and boiling water. Fucking
Yeah, that, get
don't
that
Some
change
hot
things
dog
you just
that.
don't
water.
change.
Some
Yeah,
things
that's
you
it.
don't change.
So
All right.
we're
Ravioli,
also on
ravioli.
Instagram at WLT Podcast.
Yeah, that's the formula.
Yeah, and then there you go. So next week, Nocturnal Animals, we will be doing that movie. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you. Well, don't stay
Love
tuned.
you.
Just tune in next week.
Yeah, don't stay
Don't
tuned.
Yeah,
Stay
don't stay
tuned.
tuned. Nothing's gonna happen after this until
We're
a week
gonna
from
end this
now.
podcast right now. You can
This
you
is
can
it.
go back to your life.
Untune.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this-
go back to your life.
This is it. You know,
Untune.
Don't just sit and wait for us. It's not...
you have a week, okay? Just come back.
A
in
Who are, we,
whole-
who are we talking to, by the way?
Everybody's who's
Hornet.
watching. Yeah.
Hornet, are you there?
Stingbox is
I
still
don't know-
on?
I don't know. If, I don't
Stingbox?
know if Stingbox is still here, but thank you for watching, everybody, and good night.
I love you.